Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the third episode Prickles and Goo podcast. I'm your host, Dave. On the other side of the screen is also your host, Manny.
So,
Okay. Was that super weird or what?
that was good. I liked it. I wasn't expecting
I
it.
want to have like a different way to introduce it.
Yeah, it was good. Weirdly enough, I really like stuff like that. Like when people intro and they have that like soothing voice, it's like alluring. I think all right, no, you go ahead. Take over.
Well, let's say what's on the agenda first.
Yeah.
Let's say what we're talking about today.
I guess right. So we're gonna be going through a few topics, varied topics, which is interesting.
Okay.
So we're gonna obviously talk about OP based stuff, like about OP parts. We're gonna talk about the OP community a little bit, how that's maybe changed over the last few years, and things are good about the community, things are bad from our perspective. Like this is just our experience, being in the Facebook groups and stuff, and the YouTube community and stuff. We're gonna talk about free will a little bit. I know that's like a important thing in OP because Shaver, like you don't have free will and all that, and it does mix, and it's worth talking about because I've been in conversations with people about this. I'm sure you have. So, and this for both of us, this is like it's like something we both stand on. We know how we feel about it, so we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about a really awesome guy that you actually introduced me to him. He's called Dr. K. How do you pronounce his full name?
Dude, I don't know. He never says his real name. So like, every once in a while he does.
I guess
even in the group therapy we just say Dr. K.
Dr. K, yeah. So everyone just knows him as Dr. K.
Okay.
Healthy gamer. We're gonna talk about him because he's awesome. He's like, like when you showed me him, he's based to me. I'm sure to you, he's basically like an alpha. So we're just gonna talk about him, like what he does, how what he does relates to OP, because I think it's really helpful for certain parts. Because he's like psychiatrist. He helps people with kind of owning the psychological realm of things, and he helps savior thinkers get in touch with the demon feelings, and also like helps savior intuitives get in touch with the demon sensory. And he's just awesome. So we'll talk about him. Any demon, to be fair, and I just picked the ones I have, to be fair. Like those are my demons, Demon F and Demon S. But I think you're right. Like he helps. He's a holistic. He's just sick. He's just awesome. So that's the agenda.
So ultra chill episode today. Me and Manny are both suffering from health issues. Manny's a bit hungover, although you seem fine. You seem okay.
I've drank. This is like my third cup of tea, so I'm a little bit caffeinated. No. Oh God, no. Even the word alcohol.
Oh, sorry.
I'm really hungover, but I'm also excited, so this is good.
This helps, right? And I have some weird vertigo issues, which we talked about, and where I feel like whenever I lean back, I feel like I'm doing a backflip. It's super
fuck, man, that's horrible.
But as long as I'm just like chilling here, I'm fine. It's even better if I just stand up, but like I can't just be in my room just standing up all day. Just
be uncomfortable.
Super uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
So it's super chill, but still super interesting, I hope. And maybe we should start with the OP community one, if you're down.
Yeah, let's do this.
So I want to hear your opinion first, because I'm actually not sure what I think yet.
What do you think?
I think hearing what you think will help me react to it, and then I'll know.
Yeah, that's FE, man. Like I do that all the time. Like I just want to get someone's opinion, so I know how I feel about it. I'm like, okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, now I know how I feel about it. It's like
a play thing too, right?
Yeah, it's like there is the spectrum, and it's like there's a thermometer, and you can see where someone else is, and then you're like, all right, I can place myself relative to them, kind of thing. It's not that you have to have the same opinion, but you feel like, okay, now I know where I'm positioned in this scale.
It like reminds you of your own opinion too.
Yes, it's really weird. Yeah, exactly. Okay, I'll go. So I guess how it's evolved in the last 2-3 years. I think I think it's really cool.
When did you join first, actually?
I joined pretty much as soon as this Facebook group was made. I can't remember the date. I know I should, masculine sensory, but I can't remember. Like I joined because I remember I think it was Klaus that made the group. Pretty sure.
Oh, he was the originator.
Yeah,
Okay.
he was the OG. And I remember it was like there was like maybe one or two classes out, like two classes out on their actual website. And then I joined the Facebook group after or something like that. It was super early. But yeah. And what about you? When did you?
Sorry, phone.
That's all right.
Worst times. Put this on airplane mode.
I'm gonna lock my door so I'm not disturbed.
Yeah. So
keep the tribe out.
Yeah. So I joined in January of 2019.
Okay.
So yeah, the group was already established. I think the first thing I posted was my typing results.
Oh, okay.
And stuff. I was maybe I should just put my shit in here. Like this is.
Yeah.
It was a really bad idea. It's like don't put your shit out there for everyone to see. But like everyone was super nice and like encouraging. And you had like all these comments and like, oh, this group's great.
It was nice. Yeah. And that I think that kind of love is still there. Like everyone is still like when someone gets the type, everyone's still like supportive. Like that's stayed consistent. Yeah, exactly. So you were there early on too. You gave me the date. I don't know how relative that date is to when the Facebook group was started, but it sounds early.
I think they started doing their like YouTube thing, maybe like May 2018, something like that.
Yeah,
I saw that channel in like July 2018.
Yeah. I think you're right. It was some period because I remember there. Oh yeah, no. Okay, so now I remember because it was Christmas, like Christmas period, and they threw in like the first YouTube video where they were like, yeah, MBTI is shit, we're back, we're gonna try to sort things out. And then they didn't post for a while after Christmas. So they may have like started posting maybe again like February, March, or something like that. It's that period. And then they had their classes afterwards. So that may have been like May time. Like it was that kind of period for sure, I think. Yeah, that makes sense. So I guess how it's evolved since then. So everyone's still, I think the support is still there. But sorry, COVID. No, it's not COVID. I mean, I don't actually know, but you just assume it's not. Actually, you should assume it is technically, but
I think you already had it, no?
I don't know. Yeah, I told you about it. I was kind of like I was acting as if because you like if you think you yeah exactly. It's like there was a funny side joke. There was a funny post. Someone was like, COVID is like what's the thing? Schrodinger's disease. Like you don't know. You kind of have to act like you have it and don't have it at the same time. Like it's a weird because you'll never really know exactly, but then you act as if you do. It's weird.
Yeah, it's totally like that.
But anyways, yeah. So the group has still been very, very supportive, but I've noticed like obviously at the start, since the information was new, everyone was like into learning it, and like everyone was very open. And nowadays, one transition over time I've noticed is when people are now kind of throwing in new ideas in the group, no one cares as much. It's really interesting. Not that it's a bad thing, just because everyone is a bit more grounded in like the OP knowledge. So when people just throw out wacky ideas, it's less of like, oh, let's all explore this. But at the start,
do you think it's because it's been like explored before already? Or?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's that. Like, we've probably been through the ringer with so many things, and like, it's like, especially knowing that okay, these things don't stick. So like, and it's just I've noticed that. So it's like, been there, done that.
Do you feel yourself getting like annoyed with that as well? Because like sometimes when somebody posts something and it's like I noticed that OI people drink a lot of orange juice. Do you think orange juice is related to save your OI?
Yeah,
all the time. It's like they're using the type stuff to explain like everything.
Everything, yeah.
It's just like
yeah, and what the the part that annoys me, funnily enough, I don't know if this is peacocking. It's not that like the premise of the idea is kind of silly, but it's that there's no point even like you can't test it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's almost like we're not like you getting a poll of the people in the group isn't like it doesn't really show anything. Like I don't know. It's like someone will have an idea, but then they'll like try test it and like get some people and then get a conclusion out of it. But it's not real. It doesn't mean
There's
anything.
almost never a correlation in those things. If you notice
Yeah,
how when
and
everyone takes a poll, there's never
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. There's that as well, which is actually kind of funny. Because yeah, because I'm kind of happy there isn't because I don't like. There's a part of me that doesn't want people to just assume that okay, this is true. You know, so I'm like I'm glad they didn't just bias people, but that's generally it. Because I'm like we can't test this. This isn't really. That's why like I'm more excited for when OP is more into actual science because our basement science like hypothesis kind of
pro science
stuff is it like we're not really doing anything
Yeah, you'll notice one type does this one thing, and then you'll assume every other type does that.
yeah
And you'll ask people in the group, and then everyone will have all these random answers, and then okay,
yeah
it's not a thing. And do you think they'll ever actually bring it to science, or is that just something that they
I
like
think
I don't know if they like have the resources with just two people with all the shit they're doing to really get to
I agree. I think like you're saying, like the actual resources and like the resources is the best way to explain to like actually make it substantial for science. Yeah, but I guess I imagine it in the sense it'll get into science in a different form. That's my assumption. Like it may not be OP, but OP might lead to something else that I don't know. Like I think it might contribute.
Somebody might take OP and then do science stuff.
Do something. Right? Yeah.
If they could do like the brain scans thing, like Gennardi did, I think that would be cool. That would be like, cool. How else are you going to do it? How else are you going to link like the theory to actual like biological substance, right? Like how are you going to
you gotta
brain scan or something like that?
Yeah, exactly. It's gotta be brain scans because there's other personality theories that are biologically based, which are really cool. I learned about them in psychology, and they model the personality based on so like actual parts of your brain that function. Like they notice, okay, this person or this personality have this thing hyperactive, right? So for people, let me try to remember. Fuck, with my hungover brain, it's hard to like think of stuff. Okay, so it was Eysenk's personality theory, and he was saying, oh fuck. So he kind of brought up the original, like in Big Five, there's like extroversion, conscientiousness, agreeableness. So Eysenck brought this personality theory where he brought in the original traits, and I think he brought in extroversion versus introversion, and then he brought in neuroticism, and then he brought in psychopathy, like how close you are to a psychopath, like it's like a spectrum, and like there's some traits, and stuff like people high on neuroticism or something. There's a part of your brain that deals with arousal and stress, and basically people who are a certain personality type, their brain would be more introverts. So introverts were more aroused by the environment. So since their brain is filtering in more information, they need less stimulation. Whereas extroverts, they found that their brain is very desensitized. That's why they need this ping back, because their brain doesn't take that much information. So it needs more to reach that arousal. But introverts get overwhelmed easily because they're super sensitive, because they actually take more in. So that's
like
something
that OI kind of, right?
Yeah. OE versus OI, play versus like probably a mix, stuff like that. It was just cool because they showed the actual pathways. Like it's cortical. There's a name and I can't remember. It's like ARAS, and it's a particular pathway, and it's specific parts of the brain, but I can't remember right now. But it was cool to learn that, and like they modeled it from loads of, I guess, brain scans and functional MRIs and stuff like that.
Right.
So if they do shit like that, that would be cool.
Yeah, and I think you would definitely see like, I feel like there's some stuff with the OP typing that's probably off. Like I don't think the code is completely correct.
Yeah.
You know, it could be, I guess, but I think there's at least a substantial part of it correct, just because it's so like you're able to identify it so consistently, and patterns seem to show up pretty consistently with people. But I think if they had like a brain scan thing, I think it would actually give it like a lot of proof, like, you know what I mean? Like,
exactly. Give it like
they've already done
baseline.
like kind of proof, I guess, not completely with the Nardi stuff, and that's with Myers-Briggs, which is like half bullshit anyway, right? So if that's that's like halfway provable, then certainly OP be at least somewhat, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Like it's clear there is some patterns going on. We just need some ST clarity on like what it is, because
like what does it connect to biologically? Making it happen, right?
Exactly. Yeah, man. I think so. Yeah, I think it may not be into getting science in the OP package, but yeah, I think it'll definitely contribute. I think at the very start I thought, okay, OP will get into science, but now I'm like, it may not exactly, but I think it will contribute. Like everything has its like ripple effect, so I think it does play its role for sure.
I think like it seems like what Dave and Chet are doing is that they're not really interested in owning like the OP thing. It looks like they're just looking to get it off into somebody else's hands. You know what I mean? It just seems like they're trying to develop
they're just doing that dharma
system, and then they're kind of like, now you take it and do stuff with it, because we're tired of all this shit. Like, so,
and I think
the vibe I get. I don't know. I think that's really good.
It's good. Yeah, I was gonna say it's good.
They won't be,
because they know
stuff, because they're not like getting butthurt if people think differently or whatever. Like the coolest thing that I remember seeing was when Dave was interviewed. No, it was Dave and that one ENTP guy that talks shit about everyone.
The dude talking with famous people. Eric. Yeah.
And he was there with Benjamin in that interview, and the guy was totally talking shit about OP and Dave and all that stuff. And Dave was just like, oh, okay, well that's your way of thinking about it. That's cool.
That's fine. Yeah. I really respect that.
Taking it personal. I was like, okay, well that's fine. Yeah, there might be stuff wrong with their system. That's okay. I've never seen that from anyone else who has a system.
Yeah.
For them, their system is the best, and they'll defend it till they die.
Yeah, I love it, man. It's so good, because that's the kind, like Alan Watts talks about this, right? He, like, there's a story about, he says like there's a little girl that loved a bunny rabbit, but she loved that bunny rabbit. She got so much that when she hugged it, she squeezed it to death, right? Like that's what we do in life. Like we love this thing and we're too attached to it. We kind of kill it. But like what Shave's doing, like they're like, they have that balance where they're kind of detached. They're like doing their dharma. Yeah, like I'm just gonna contribute what I can. Like they're aware of their limitations. They're working within the confines of what they have, making the most of it and passing it on. I guess it's like, I love it. It's like pay it forward, and it's providing this step. Someone else will add the next step, and we just climb this ladder. That's how science works too, because everyone's doing their little part, and it builds. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I guess that's TE.
Doing it in a way where it's like, it's okay if you're wrong. You should be looking for the truth, not looking that you have the truth.
Do you?
What you have.
Exactly.
Looking what's actually there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, because
I think that's what attracted me most to OP. How much of their ego wasn't in. You can just feel it. I think everyone knows. That's why they're so popular, because you can get the sense of like the pureness of it, where there's no ego in this endeavor. They're just doing what they think would be good. Like, you know, like I love the way Dr. K, he kind of phrases it like he was talking to someone about someone that felt like, oh, I want to do this thing. You know, they had their ego attached to it. Like, I want to do this thing good. And Dr. K was just saying, well, no, you're just here to help. That's it. Like, you know, whatever the outcomes are, it's kind of out of your control. Like whether OP ends up in science, you don't know, but you just show up. You're just here. You just do what you can. And you get that like vibe that they're just here to help. And I think that's what attracted me as well as how they were trying to base it on like actual science and like, you know, scientific method principles.
Yeah, and they're not like trying to like. It doesn't look like they're trying to get money out of it either. Because
Yeah.
I mean, even they've said it, and I believe them that they're not like overly marketing their videos. It doesn't seem like they want just everyone to come.
Yeah, they don't give a
For stuff,
fuck.
it's like too many people for them.
Yeah, yeah,
They
they don't
haven't risen,
care.
like the prices. I don't think have risen since I
Yeah,
started with the class
right.
like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's been really good. But
Yeah.
we've gotten a little bit off topic. Do you see, which is like, I mean, it's what we
Which
do.
is was gonna happen.
But like, do you see any other patterns within the community?
Yes,
Maybe bother you or don't bother you?
for sure. It's not as bad right now, but it's been peaks. So like
Mhm.
it's like there'll be periods of certain phases of certain things. So I think midway. So at the start, everyone was learning the new information. Everyone was really
Yeah.
open-minded, open to ideas, open, and like everyone was trying to discover their type. So everyone was like loads of people that were gonna get their type that hadn't been typed in the group, and but over time as people start getting their type, people kind of get the been there done that mindset. Does people start getting overly critical? They adopt the OP lens too intensely, so it becomes it the whole OP kind of slogan of like you can't see yourself, which is true, and your parts are dictating a lot of the problems you face rather than the problem existing. A lot of it is like you seeing it, but there's a balance in taking that understanding, because you can go overboard where you end up kind of gaslighting people, which is what happened in a particular phase in the group where like someone might be pointing something out and someone would be like, oh, but you're an EP, like you can't say that. And like but the fucked up, like I saw, I don't want to name names, but like it was so annoying
It was a
because I was like,
specific situation.
yeah, it was a very specific situation. Yeah, yeah. And like it was like this guy was talking in the group. It was a back and forth, him with other people just being like, dude, like you're being whatever, whatever. And like it was just they were arguing against him just under the premise that he's an EP, so like he's talking shit, like he's being don't control me, bro. But
Yeah.
like he was super calm and he was right. Like he wasn't even
Yeah, like
freaking
listen to
out.
what
Like
he's saying, not just disregard.
yes, and I was
Yeah.
exactly, yeah. So I'm like, it becomes a problem where you can become biased in because there's one way of becoming not seeing reality. You can like get into your own shit too much and not see your patterns and like think problems are bigger than they are. Like that's what Shave obviously says is a problem. But I'm noticing there's the potential of the going too much the other lens where everything is OP and there's no nuance, right?
Yeah.
So it's like too much of an extreme, and
Yeah.
it's better now. And I think that's communities are like people, so people kind of have to learn that themselves. And as a community, I think there's a natural progression where it got too intense with the gaslighting, but it's gone down now. Like people are more chill. But I noticed that there was a toxic little period.
I'm like not tracking those patterns at all. Like I'm having trouble. Like, well, how has the group changed? It feels kind of the same. But I see what you're saying though. Like now that you mention it, like that's definitely true. The other thing is like if anyone brings any type of Myers-Briggs shit into the group, like they get fucking attacked. Like I saw one person talk shit that is super nice to everyone on the group, and she just started talking shit to this person because they put this MBTI bullshit.
MBTI, yeah,
like,
man.
I don't see me like this. It's kind of nice actually, but like there's like zero tolerance. I think everyone
zero tolerance.
It's like, maybe that's not necessary. Or like, you can reply to it and be like, hey, this is different than OP, blah blah blah. But like, this is Myers-Briggs bullshit. You can't bring this dumb shit. That doesn't make sense. Like it's not necessary. To attack.
Like don't. Yeah, you can definitely like if you empathize with where they're coming from, like they're not.
Because we were all into the Myers-Briggs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say, I kind of do. I get triggered. I get triggered, but I don't act on it because of like what you're saying. Because I'm like, I know that's like a part of me that's getting triggered is like a child. It's like I see the world in this way. Why can't they see it in this way? Like
you're
they're
kind of
seeing it
assuming
wrong.
that they see it your way too, and
it's just
like it's
exactly.
obvious this shit is stupid. You know what I mean?
Like, it's weird, and I can see it in me, but I don't act on it. But I see what you're saying. People do act on that. That's true.
For me, I only get annoyed with it when it's like, when it's pushy, or if they're very like confident about it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, well, in general, like if somebody's putting bad
If
information
anyone's
out there and they're like smug or confident about it, then that triggers me.
yeah.
Then it's like, it's being confident in your ignorance somehow.
Yeah.
To me, that's like, hey,
You hate
I
that.
don't be
Yeah.
so sure of anything like that, especially
Yeah.
something stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like somehow
No.
that is the most triggering shit ever. And you have like people that come on the group that are kind of like that. Like,
Yeah.
I think I'm actually FEFI. I think I'm both types. Usually at night, I tend to be more INFP like. In the morning, I'm a bit more of an ENFJ. And it's like, dude, that makes no sense. It doesn't make sense to me. It's like, just get this shit out of here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Oh
you don't have
man.
that too often in the group. I feel like overall, the shit talking level in the group has gone down.
Yeah, I agree.
Like people
We're a
are
bit.
getting
It's like
like,
mature. Yeah, it's like as a community, we've just kind of matured. Like everyone, it just seems more mature, and yeah, just more mature. I think. Yeah, I do see that.
yeah.
And I was gonna say the only time I get triggered when someone is confident, if someone is like they just don't understand OP enough, and they're throwing in their own ideas about from MBTI or whatever, I don't mind.
That's the worst. If you have like, the parts messed up, or if you don't understand something, like that's fine. But then
Yeah.
you tell them like, hey, it doesn't work. This, you can't be consumed blast. You have to.
Right.
Like, you can't have those both as savers. Why can't they? And they,
Yeah.
well, just go watch a video, man.
Yeah, that's true. To be fair, at least with those people, like they kind of have to come around because when they eventually do take in the information, like they see it doesn't make sense.
Like,
But the ones
fight, don't like argue with people when you don't really know much.
you don't, yeah,
realize that you're new, and then
yeah, that's
it's
true.
like arrogant to just assume, oh, I've been watching, I
Yeah,
watched 2 videos today, I know all about OP now, and I'm gonna
yeah,
argue
yeah.
on the Facebook group.
It's like they're acting as if their bucket is full when it's like it's so empty, and you can see how empty the bucket is, and you're like, just go learn it. Like you don't know it. The ones that that is quite annoying. The ones that trigger me the most though, and I'm not gonna name names, when they do understand OP.
You're thinking of a specific person.
Yes, yeah, like I have a specific person, and they do know OP, and then they have ideas about it that are just wrong. I'm like, that doesn't mean you're insulting the way it works. Like that's not what it is. Like when someone understands it, it's like they're not even ignorant. Like they just see it in a different way. I'm like, that's not how it works.
Can you give me like an example? Like you don't have to name the person, but like kind of something that they may have posted.
Yeah. So for me, I'm like, I mean, I know it is just my TI, like straight up, it's just me.
Straight TI,
But like
okay, obviously illogical. How can you say that?
So for me, I think so. Like some people say, and if you disagree, that's actually fine. I don't. It's this. This was a guy that had a very long, annoying argument. That was why it was annoying because his argument was it was convoluted and it just didn't make sense. And he was saying things that didn't make sense. But if you actually disagree with what I think, that's actually fine. I'm just gonna put it out there. So people normally say when you have like your last animal, that's the letter you have last. So like you have blast last, you're NF last, right? And the assumption would be for me, I have NF last. Like that's what. And and this person was saying, oh fuck. I don't care. This person was an ENFP, right? And he was saying, yeah, shave typed me wrong, right? Because I'm supposed to be, what did he say?
INTJ.
Yeah, you actually know who I'm talking about.
ENFPs always think they're INTJs.
Yeah. Okay.
Tell me what type you think. Tell me what type you are that you disagree with, and I'll know what type you actually think you are.
Oh my god. Yeah, for a second I thought you knew who I was talking about with that suggestion. Okay, that was still good though. I can't remember exactly what he said, but he was saying, "Oh, I should be what was he saying? Because he was thinking if you have this animal last, you have the letters last." So he was like, "Shape type me wrong. I have good let me try to remember. I think he said something like, "Oh, I'm really bad with ST, but I'm supposed to be SF last with the type that they gave me, right?" He's consume play blast, and so he'd have sleep last. So he was like, "I'm really bad with ST," and but they were saying I should be SF last or whatever. And I was trying to say, and he said this about other people. He was trying to type like celebrities. He's like, "Oh, this person is really bad with these letters. They're this type based on that logic." And I was telling him, no, like I think your saviors are the ones, your savior letters are the ones that dictate what your last one is. So for me, I was thinking to him, for me, like I know I'm blast last, but I'm not, and like I'm more SF last instead of NF last. And like I was trying to explain to him, the animals are more like behavior. So I do SF. You'll see SF more, but in terms of like the information my brain can process and take in and like understand, I find it harder to understand SF than NF. And it's like, and I was trying to explain it, like, does this make sense? Where like my function stack, I'm NIFETISE, and like I'm NITI, like it's, and those are my saviors. Like, does it make sense to say I'm NF last and instead of SF last? And I was just trying to like explain the difference. Like when you build on top of the function, so like your saviors are like the basis, and then on top of that, the animals are like your behaviors that reinforce it.
So I was like how far away it is. Like, cause me, I'm like, NF last and blast last. So I'm the most least NF as you could be.
Yeah.
But if I had blast third, then I would be still NF would be my worst one, but it wouldn't be as bad.
Yeah, it's just exactly. Yeah, exactly. So like my NF is definitely hampered relative to other INFJs. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's like an effect. It's like the animals overlay like how far it's pulled away even more. Exactly. Yeah. But I was trying to explain to him, but at the core, if you're gonna give a binary, which one's last? Like I would be SF last. Like NT is my worldview. Like everything I conceptualize in an NT way, and and NF is closer to that than SF. Like SF is the exact. I was trying to explain that to him, and he gave really long, convoluted explanations. He was like, "Look at your profile picture. You look cool in it. You're clearly not SF last." So
he goes to anecdotes.
Boom. Yeah, and I was like, dude, like you can't just see something and then just judge.
Yeah, it could have been that
my entire life.
Sure, you don't know how I how I did that, right? Like,
exactly.
Look at one piece of evidence and be like, oh, see.
Exactly, and I mean that's more evidence for him being ST last, because he would be ENF. He is an ENFP, and NF, so he should be ST last. So like that was
really
dumb.
Assumptive any.
Pardon? Yeah.
Really assumptive any. Like I noticed that any people like really make like a lot of assumptions very easily.
Yeah.
It's kind of the like, or at least ENFPs. I don't know if I've seen ENTPs do this, but ENFPs especially, it's like the anti-ISTP. Because for me, I like can't come to a fucking assumption. It's all the time saying, I don't know. When I could have made an assumption, it was really obvious, but I still don't.
You know what it is? I think it's because they are our opposite quadra, so the way they work is really different to us. Because their NT is extroverted, our NT is like we're flipped. So I'm not surprised you can see such a difference in how they assume things relative to us. Like I think there's
like very like like they like little things. Like I have some ENFP friends, and one of them I'll say, yeah, I'm gonna go visit France and next month. Be like, okay, yeah, have fun in Paris. It's like I never said Paris, so I was going to France. Now, that's like a really nitpicky.
I get you.
But like that in general, like if you magnify that,
really funny.
That's
a lot. Interesting. Yeah.
Oh, let me see if I can say this without saying the person, because I don't want to. No, I'm not going to. Okay, I'm not going to use this example. Okay, there's another. But sometimes they're frustrating because they'll make an assumption that's kind of negative, and you're like, hey, I didn't say that.
Right.
Different.
Yeah.
Taking what I said, and you're making a guess, and you're trusting that guess, and that to me is really strange. Like you do not know that you're guessing. Like, whenever I feel like I'm guessing, I don't trust it. Well, it's a guess. I don't know.
Yeah, no, literally.
I know. This guess is usually right. So it's like, it's not that like that's like bad. It's just like a spectrum from like, I don't know, dude, to like, oh, I know what's going on. It's better to be like in the middle. Like, I think it's really cool that they can trust their intuition. And I think it's so good that they're used to trusting it. And sometimes it's really stupid that are like really, I'm looking for a word that's like pathetic, but not so severe. But it's kind of like a bit cowardly sometimes. Just make an assumption and go with it instead of being like,
yeah.
You know what
I think,
mean?
I'm realizing I'm trying to like anti-puzzle. Sorry. Trying to anti-puzzle this. I think like this whole assumption thing, like if the NE and the N and the T is completely non-personal and they're just throwing it out, like they don't like, maybe that's why like it's to us it's like TI, like the understanding is personal, so we're not like we're gonna be more careful. We're not just gonna be like, this is what I think it is, like, because it is, we don't want to be wrong, so we're like, I don't know. Yeah, we're more cautious. Maybe for them, they're happy to be confident because it's non-personal, like they're just like, it's probably this, like, and it's not even, I'm just trying to make sense of it, because it's like extroverted, any, and then the TE as well, like any logic is like, I'll just throw this, probably makes sense. If it's wrong, it's not personal. I don't know. Maybe that's it. But
yeah, that makes sense with the TI being in there. Yeah. There was another. Never mind. Anytime they bring somebody in, oh, I don't want to say it because what if they watch this?
It's all good, man.
Issues, right? Like, how did we get here? What were we talking about?
Man, dude, I was literally thinking that right now. I think I was talking about shit I don't like in the community.
You got into the battle with that one dude, the ENFP, about he was like SF or okay.
Yeah, all that shit.
He's ST last. Okay.
Yeah.
So okay, so we see
that was community.
Yeah. What else are you seeing?
What else? I don't know. Nothing comes to mind
because I'm not.
Yeah. trying to draw it in. I don't know. Nothing's coming to mind. We can move on. I don't know how long we've been talking, so we could move on if you want as well. We can do that. But yeah, nothing's coming to mind. There's probably something there though, for sure. Like things. Yeah, no. The biggest problem here is the gaslighting, like not being completely unbalanced in taking OP too far as a view of the world, and then also dumb ideas. Just dumb ideas. That's it. Yeah.
I feel you. Yeah.
Oh man.
Like, how could you put an idea out there that's so dumb? But it's like, I guess if you have TE, then who cares? It's just an idea.
Yeah, and he has TE, so maybe that's fair.
I wonder. So, like, what's the opposite of that? Like, can you put a feeling out there that's not good, or can you put a preference that you have that isn't like in good taste? Like, what's the FI version or
I don't know
version of that? Like, what are we doing?
What are we doing? Yeah, because like I sometimes like I don't know how they feel about it, but sometimes I just want to share. Like I'll tell myself I don't want to say this. Like I'll just keep this to myself. But if I get in a conversation with someone and I feel comfortable, then it'll just come out. Like whatever it was that I didn't want to say, it just kind of comes out. And like I just like with you, like I was gonna not like sometimes I just complain or like I'll just express a feeling, right? And so like with you, I didn't want to say I was gonna be drinking because I was like, oh, maybe that would put you off for today because I'll be hungover. And then because you mentioned the vertigo thing and you were saying like, oh, this thing sucks, right? I felt comfortable enough to be like, yeah, like I'm feeling shit too, like I'm hungover, and I wasn't supposed to say that, but I just felt comfortable, so I was like, I'm just gonna share how I feel. But it's that kind of thing where I'm just like, just gonna share it, like see what they just. I don't know. I don't know how an FI person feels about that. I can't imagine.
Yeah, because there has to be like an opposite scenario. Yeah. Where we're like, how could you say that? It's just
like insensitive. Yeah.
I guess it is really just if you value something that they don't value, then they look down on you for it. Or maybe I have heard that people with FI will judge you if your values are not to their liking, or if they're to them shitty values. Then right.
But what? Okay, yeah, interesting.
Like I've heard people actually. Well, I think it was an INTJ in the group that said that. And then I asked my ENFP friend, if it was really like that, it was like, will you judge somebody if their values are shitty? And she's like, yeah, totally, I'll totally judge somebody.
Fuck. Values like
no wonder like FI people keep their shit secret because other FIs are gonna like judge them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and then you're just fuck. It's so interesting.
Yeah, which is
I don't know. That sounds heavy though. Like, oh man, that's so heavy. Like that's because I think it's heavier than T because feeling values are like always being expressed. So it's like that judgment is always being triggered. I'd say more often than T, because like as humans we're more expressive with emotions than logic. So that sounds heavier. Yeah. Shit, that sounds heavy. Because let's say I'm judgmental on T, it's not common that I end up judging someone because it's like, when are we ever really gonna dive into some theory or like some? Do you know what I mean? Like on a more day-to-day basis, I'm more interacting with people with F. But maybe that's because I have FE though. Maybe that's why. I don't know. Maybe it's just
well, for me, it's been that way too. It's been more values.
Maybe it is because we have FE, and that is why we do actually end up interacting with F more. But I don't know. There's no way to.
Can you think of a specific moment, or have you felt like you were judged by an FI person?
Yeah, fucking my girlfriend, right? So like, fucking, this is so dumb. This is a dumb thing though. It was about my water bottle, and I like this water bottle, and so she bought one for her housemate for her birthday, and she was like really happy. She's like, oh, I got her this water bottle. It's awesome. It looks good. It had flower patterns. It had a narrow. It was like this, but a different shape. It had a narrow head, because mine is a wide mouth, and then she came over here and she was just talking about the water bottle, and she was like, oh look, and I think she got her own as well, similar to that, and she was like, look, I got this water bottle. I got it for my friend as well. It's really nice, and she was really like pleased with herself. She was telling people like, yeah, it's really nice. I was like, yeah, it's really nice, and she was like, yeah, it's better than yours, like objectively, and I was like. I mean, I don't understand. I mean,
or did she like? Was she like?
No, yeah. So she was just saying, yeah, like straight up, like, oh, it's better than yours. And I was like, well, I mean, I get it. For you, it's better than mine. Like you like yours more than you like mine. Like I get that. Like you like it. And she's like, no,
more than yours.
Yeah, and she was like, no, like it's just better, like objectively, like. I just didn't understand. I couldn't compute. I was like, what do you mean? Like, you're not. Why are you how do you judge this as objectively? But like, you just like that more. Like, I like this more. So how does that like? How do you know what I mean? Like, I was like, but I prefer this. So how are you not taking that into consideration? Like, I don't get it. And she's like, no.
It has to be the best, obviously.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, exactly. It was that kind of thing, and I thought she was joking as well.
I would have think that too, because nobody.
Yeah, right? Genuinely. So I was just thinking, oh, this is a joke, and she was kind of smiling about it, and I had the final point of like, yeah, like, because I was getting irritated because I was like, but this doesn't make sense. Like, I do actually prefer this for a reason. Like, I wanted a wide mouth. I don't want flowers on my water bottle. I like it like this. So why is that? I don't get it. Yeah. And she just didn't say anything. She just smiled and kept to herself. And I was like, wow, she was serious. She genuinely, objectively just thinks that mine's work. So like that's a good example. And I was like, my mind was blown. I was like, this is it.
Crazy. Yeah. I think Shavers also talked about that too, where they were, one video they did the Q&A where it was like, well, the example seems weird when I played it through my head, but it was like a collection of musical instruments, and the FI person saw this purple one, but they were afraid to get the purple one because they liked the purple one, and therefore that was the best one.
The best one.
Because they like. I
can't understand that though. I just can't. Like, to me,
I can kind of get it. I mean, if you really think something's badass and you think it's more badass than the other things, then there could be a bit of you that thinks that everyone else will think it's also badass, right?
No, yeah, for sure. Like, yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, you can see that, oh, there's some universal quality in this that I'm attracted to that everyone would like. So yeah, I get that. But sometimes it's like, whenever I think something's good and I think something's like the best, I am automatically also assume that, oh, this is probably just me. I don't know what the spectrum is. Like, maybe someone might feel that like that. I just automatically like add that into my feeling of something being good. I don't know. So it's hard to,
like, for me, if something is like, okay, so I think I know where I'm getting this from. If I think something is like TI amazing, like the way this works is the most logical.
Yes. Yeah.
Therefore it's the best. But like if something was like a certain color that I liked, I would never assume that everyone else likes that color too.
Right. Yeah.
No, this is what I like,
agree.
You know, and then I would kind of like, you can kind of tell like people that you know, if you know them really well, if they would also be like that color too.
Yeah, exactly. I get that. Yeah, I'm the same.
But dude, I was on a date. Wow, this was a long time. This was last year, I think. Or no, maybe it was really early this year. I went on a couple dates with a girl that I suspect to be FI first.
Yeah.
And there was a point where she definitely judged me on the ice cream that I liked. Like I'm not even kidding. Like
yeah, and you don't know how to react. How do you? Did you think she was joking too? And then you talk more and you see.
Well, she did not say it in a joking way, so it was like very clear that she wasn't. It was like, what? Yeah. She was like, what kind of ice cream flavors do you like? Like, what? Like green tea, and I like mocha. And
that's another thing, by the way. So after you explain that, that's a whole other thing to talk about. But yeah, finish your stuff.
So she was like, so the ice cream flavors that you like are all types of drinks. I find that to be really weird. It's like, oh shit. Okay. It's just ice cream.
Yeah. Like what you, yeah. And yeah, one thing that's also like quite sneaky is like FE people, like we ask questions because like if I ask you, what do you feel about this? Like I genuinely want to know so that I can like what we're talking about, like inform my own opinion of it, like put myself on the spectrum, like, oh, like, so he likes it for this reason. I mean, like absorb your opinion. I actually absorb it. The FIs, and I've had feedback on this, my girlfriend, someone else said this, they ask questions and be like, do you like this? They're not they don't want to know your opinion. They just want they just want to know that you agree with them. Like that's why they're asking. It's like, it's not to like gather the values, it's to find whether you align with them.
If you don't, like, get the fuck out. Like,
yeah, if my girlfriend's like, oh, like, what do you think of this? And like, she just makes a very neutral statement. I give her I give her my opinion, and then she's like, oh my God. I'm like, wait, I don't, like, you asked my opinion, but she's like, but you were supposed to like agree with me. You were supposed to say what I want.
I wear black or white. I like the black. You would pick black.
Yeah. Like, don't like.
If you already knew the one you wanted to wear, why the fuck are you asking me that?
Yeah, or at least, or this is what I prefer. At least, just like you can say, I do like the black. What do you think? Like, it's the hidden agenda, like to see, like, is he gonna secretly?
Every time, are you just sitting there shaking and there's like sweat? Oh, I like the black one. Oh, black. Oh, fuck, I fucked it up again.
Oh my God, yeah, and it's and I think let me try and remember what she said. Yeah, I did ask her. I said, oh, what if you just tell me first, and then you see what I say. Like, you say, oh, I prefer this, what do you think? And then, but her response was, I don't want to influence what you like. I just want to know what you actually like and see if it. So it's like a weird, and I guess it does actually make sense, because it's like they want authenticity. So they want to know.
It makes sense.
What you are, you just fit. But it's difficult.
Make a difference in any.
Yeah. It just makes life hard. It does make life hard. Because I don't work that way. I don't understand.
To spin it the opposite way, with TI, do you feel like people's way of thinking will like make you be like, you think that way, or you believe in free will? What the fuck? Like, do you ever do that? Because I feel like from my end, I don't think I.
Yeah, it doesn't feel. I'm not. I'll think of that in terms of the actual idea that they have about free will, but I won't think about it as them as a person.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be like, oh, that idea is bad, but I don't attach it to them. I'm not trying to get. It's not like a characteristic of them. It's just it's a detached thing. It's very detached.
It's only the case if they have a shitty idea, and like we touched on this before, if they're super confident about it and won't listen, then I get triggered by it.
Yeah, me too. It's the if they're off with how they express themselves, like that I was about to say his name. I was actually going to say his name. The ENFP guy that I had the thingy with. It was
I think it's
how
pretty obvious who it is now. If he's listening, he's gonna know.
Yeah, I don't even care. He to be fair, I'm not even in the Facebook groups anymore.
Not in the groups anymore.
No.
He left?
Yeah. But I guess I'm still like I'm still in Blast Last because this is shit. Man.
You don't have to talk about it if you don't want to.
No, I can. It's just it feels like too soon to say this because I mean, fuck it, it's whatever. So the 9 show's splitting up. We're not splitting up. We're going on a long hiatus. We've been waiting to do this video to like say like, okay, we're going on this long hiatus.
You guys seem so cool with each other. Like it seems like
no, we are.
Okay.
Yeah, it's almost like it's because we finished the function series, so we were gonna move on to other stuff. And we were talking a little bit about like what's going to happen in the future. So I'm going to go to university in September. So I was going to stop then anyways, go on a break then anyways. But then we just figured, maybe it's like right now, they each also have their own things they need to do at the moment. And we just figured, this is a good time to give it a break because we finished at least the function series. So it's like, hey, yeah, this is a good time. So because of that, I was like, when I'm in the Facebook groups, it's too because I'm like NT, the worst addiction is to have something NT to puzzle. So being in the Facebook groups, it just keeps me too much in my NT mind because I'm just constantly puzzling OP. So for my own good, I'm like, I need to like leave the group, get back into more reality and like, just so basically that like it was fuel for my NT in a way that it was like not helpful. It's not conducive to my growth. So I was like, it's okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm still in contact with all the people from OP that I'm friends with, like with you and everyone else. So it's like the Facebook group did serve its purpose because I have connections with people that like I still talk to, and I still like I organize calls with people. So yeah, it's fine anyways.
We're still on the Blast Last group at least.
Still in the Blast Last group.
Yeah. Still on that one. Yeah.
I love that group, man. The drunk video trend you set. I hope I hope everyone does it.
Shit. Well, dude, did you see the rules on the thing? I never noticed this, but there's rules for the Blast Last group that say you'll get permanently banned if you're drunk or if you've taken drugs or whatever on there. I'm like, who wrote that? I was like, Jonah didn't write this. Like, maybe Klaus wrote that?
Klaus wrote that? But that's very anti-OE. You'd think he's just like, let's fucking go. Let's fucking go.
Yeah,
I don't know.
There's probably like some kind of reason behind that. I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe he's been in a group before and everyone was just drunk as fuck all the time and the discussion.
Yeah.
I don't know. That seems like a crazy scenario.
But the good part is we are the admins now, so we can change that.
Yes, yeah, I thought about it. Like somebody mentioned it, and it was Ryan, I think, mentioned it on one of the posts. Oh, you're not allowed to get it. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna erase it.
He like rule enforced you.
He snitched it. He snitched on it.
He's like, you can't do this shit.
No, he was just making a joke, but yeah, I'm thinking, okay, maybe I just delete that. So.
Nah, fuck it, dude.
Well, yeah, I think it's totally fine to have a few beers. I guess if everyone's just fucking sloshed and then blasting, then you're not really getting much out of the group, I guess, right? But it's funny. It's like it's good comedic relief.
For sure, I think it's fine, especially just having a few beers. Like it was. You had full control over yourself. Mm-hmm. You weren't like just completely slathered and just saying the worst things. Like you were fine. You're absolutely fine. I think there's nuance to it. I do get the rule. You don't want things to get out of control, but I don't know. A few beers is fine. I even said a joke because Jono posted on my drunk video. He was like, "You and Dave are the drunk video blasters," and I said, "New blasting rule. You have to take a shot for every time you pause or say
You'd be so fucked up if you did that.
You
would probably have to go. How many times I say holy shit, like. Yeah.
It'd be like a continuous conveyor belt of like taking shots. Oh man, yeah, that group's cool though. I'm gonna stay there.
It's helped a lot actually with like and stuff, and I think like, yeah, like just being comfortable on the camera which takes a long time.
Yeah. Do you still get the apprehension to blast before you blast on the group? Yeah, me neither. It just like at the start, I'd be like, press the go button, press it, and I have to force myself to go live. Yeah, but now it's like
the fear rises in you, and you're like,
exactly. And you have to take notes, like just to prepare. Like this was now I'm like, fuck it, let's go. Sometimes I want to be under prepared. Like I want to just press it and just. It's almost like I just want to. Yeah, I'm just like whatever, and I press it, and I'm just like, let's see the questions. I don't even know what the questions are before I press it.
Same. Go back and watch your first blast video
and compare.
Watch the difference. Like I haven't seen your first blast video, but sometimes I go back and look at mine. I'm like, whoa,
and you're like, whoa,
changed since then.
Yeah,
it's really like motivating.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna do that because people have mentioned to me at times like, oh, your blast has gotten better, but I haven't ever looked back to compare.
It's motivating. For sure.
Yeah. I'm gonna do that. Shit, it's so cool how we just don't stay on topic, but the conversation's pretty sick. So I don't know.
I think that's key, though. I think that's key to it being sick. Because if we sit there and we regimented it, it kind of breaks the flow of it.
Yeah, it does.
It's
for real. But it's just funny. Like we've only touched on like one thing.
Oh shit! Yeah.
The OP. No, but it's fine. Like I think it's fine.
Yeah. What else do we have? We have Dr. K. We have Free Will.
OP parts. If you want to talk about
OP parts. Yeah. Okay. Let's do that. Let's talk about the hobby animal after I get my charging cord because this thing's.
Yeah, do it, man. Don't want your thing to die.
Okay, we're good to go. Hobby animal. Yours is play. Mine is sleep. It feels like a savior, honestly.
Yeah, man. Like you've told me.
It feels like it's like it's working at just enough capacity to where it feels like it's a savior, but not enough capacity where I'm basing my life on it. You know what I mean? Like it's it's like at its minimal amount to where it's not causing tidal waves in my life. Yeah,
that's what you want. That's actually perfect. Yeah. It's like it's doing its job, nothing more, nothing less.
Yeah. And so
sick. That's good.
Yeah. And so for me, it's like so there's play and sleep right in the middle. So there's like for me, there's never like
you're super balanced on those, aren't you?
On anything.
Yeah.
Like I get burnt out on like the same information or whatever, but like physically I never get burnt out.
That's so cool.
And then I never really get to where I'm unable to do anything either, to where I'm just like in sleep mode. So it's always like.
Yeah, actually I have a few questions about this because it seems like you have energy DOMs, but then if you just kind of look at the parts, there is a spectrum. So I'm energy DOM, but I'm like the least energy DOM-ish because I'm savior sleep. So it's like I'm heavier on the sleep, right? And it's like my first animal and like I'm sleep consumed. But you and I think the blast, like your type consume play sleep is super in the middle of that. Like like you're the most energy DOM in terms of like balancing the play and sleep with your parts, it seems logically. And I've heard another ISTP guy talk about this. Tim McReaver. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that.
Yeah. Yes. I think he's almost my type twin. I think.
Double feminine version. Yeah. He was doing an interview with Kendrick. He was saying it was just interesting. He was saying he's very aware of his energy level, so much so when he's at work, he will allocate time to like take some rest, take some alone time, take some time to recharge. Like he's very like careful about, okay, I'm gonna do this now because I know it'll help me last later on in the day. Like even though I'm energy DOM, I'm not like that. Mine is more like I'm energy DOM in the sense I will actually do sleep for a long period and then go hard into play. I'm a bit more jumpy. Okay. It sounded like he was more flowy, like he flowed more so than I do. So I was gonna ask, how do you do you have any tips or like what do you do to like balance it and regulate that?
So I can really relate to what Tim said. It feels like your energy level is here, and when it's like here, this is the energy you can expend energy. Then once you see it start going down, and then you sleep, and then it comes back up, and then you use it and sleep. So you're constantly like
just gauging that. And
there's like a threshold. Whenever it goes above that, I use all of that. until it goes back down, and then I recover and I use all of that.
Yeah.
So it's just happening throughout the day, I think. And then sometimes it'll happen to where like I'll be forced to play for maybe for work, and then the next day I just don't do a lot. And so there's a bigger dip that I take.
Bigger dip. Yeah,
it seems to be automatic because you're just so
automatic.
overly aware of it. You feel yourself being drained. You're like, oh wait, I'm getting drained.
Yeah.
I need to chill now.
Interesting. Okay,
so monitor it, and then there'll be like a green light. You're like, beep, you can play now. And then you
then that's so cool.
It's just like an alarm system built.
Yeah. It's cool. It sounds almost like the same way we talk about double observing or double deciding. It's like double energying, you know, like
so I think
just having that awareness of both.
I think it is just awareness. I think really just paying attention to your energy.
Paying attention
is like the key. The other thing is I've noticed the total energy level will change like when I'm doing more in a way, or like if I'm doing more a lot more over time, then it gets to where I feel like I have more energy to do stuff overall. Like I get myself going.
Yeah.
But
you're
also
conditioned kind of
thing that I
right.
Before. So it's kind of like so I get out of balance when I'm doing a lot, I notice, but I actually like that because I'm doing more. Do you know what I mean?
Interesting.
Like,
yeah.
At work, if I have to like do a bunch of presentations and I have to blast a bunch in a row, I'm ready to blast two after that. And like, why don't I call somebody? Why don't I do this?
Yeah.
And then get deeper, and then so it's like I don't know where I was going with that, but it feels like when you over expend energy, you tend to keep going with it, like momentum wise. And then there's sometimes where
exactly
you catch it, and then the next day you just take the day off.
Yeah. You know? I know exactly what you're talking about.
Like you run away with it sometimes, but usually you have it in check.
Yeah, I'm more so because I have like, because it sounds like there's like the awareness of the energy, and then there's the attachment. Like, because I'm savior asleep, I have this kind of attachment to always conserve. Like even if I feel like so there's kind of that bias to always kind of conserve. So it means that I'll have like big swings more so than the flow. So I'll be like, when I do get momentum, I'll just be like, all right, let's go. And then I'll have the dip, and then I'll stay in the dip longer than I should, because then I'll be like, I need to start doing stuff.
There's like a psychological thing where it's like, well, I just want to stay here a bit longer. My energy is actually back where it is, but I don't.
I'm comfy. Exactly. And I'm learning. It's weird, but like I am learning now to balance it. Like before I was bad, but now I'm learning to balance it.
That's good, because it sounds like you're already aware of it. Now you just have to track that, and you have to say as soon as you get to where you feel good, and you're not just like jerking yourself off, and then you go out and do shit.
I know
that becomes a habit, and then you automatically, your brain starts to balance those things out once you've retrained it to do that, I think.
Exactly. I think that's what I'm hoping for. I notice that even in actual sleep, like it's only over the past like say year or so I'm realizing that like oversleeping really isn't an issue. Like I'm super like, I need to like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like if you undersleep, you'll be tired. But then there's also oversleeping, and like after this year, I've been really getting on top of my like, because I've told you about the chronotype stuff. So like I wake up early, and I did my own like experiments where I'd be like, okay, how much body does my body need? How much sleep does my body need? Like for real. So you do this test where you don't set an alarm, and for like, let's say a week or 2 weeks, you just see when you wake up and you track how long that is. And to my surprise, I always assumed that I needed loads of sleep. I don't know why. Because I was tired during the day, I just assumed, oh, I'm someone that needs loads of sleep. When I actually did the thing, I only need 7 to 7.5 hours of sleep. Like that was my consistent body sleep period. I was like, okay. And ever since doing that, I feel so much better waking up. It's like,
if you like oversleep, do you feel worse?
Yeah, I feel shit. Like it's weird. It's like, it's not good. And it's kind of like what we're talking about with the energy dom. It's like if I get too stuck in energy sleep, it's like and it's just my comfort more though than me needing to recharge. It's like you're hampering the natural progression. So even with my actual sleep and these little things I'm learning, like there is a flow to it. I can't just stay too much in that zone because it'll hamper me. So I need to get up when it's time to get up, and then I'll feel better. Like you actually, like yeah, I feel so much better for it. It's
awesome.
weird, but yeah.
Even the caffeine you tip you gave me from the chronotype stuff was really good. So yeah, I have the book that you sent me. I'm gonna have to read that.
Yeah, it's good. I like it. It's not it's pretty straightforward to read as well, because he'll outline specific sections like, oh, this section is about coffee. This section is about when to have sex. This section is about when to
imagine monitoring that.
when to exercise.
It's like, babe, it is 6:19 p.m. according to our chronotypes. This is the time where you should perform coitus. So if you're
low key, like it's so weird, really, but like I kind of like I wish that's how it works. It does, like obviously I can't do that. I can't like say that.
But like I'm at my sexual prime right now.
Genuinely, like it's weird, but that's my brain. Like that, like when I read that.
Oh yeah, that is kind of like super NT, right? To like
yeah.
And completely ignore the SF and what that looks like.
Yeah, for real, it's so bad, dude. Because when I read the thing, what you just the joke you did, like that was my mind. I was like, if only like I could have this conversation with her, but it's not gonna work. But I wish
like your girlfriend is SF. So
yeah, she's gonna be like, shut the fuck up.
So are you like just NTing all the time, and she's like, what the fuck?
This is good. It's a good balance because she is SF. She is kind of she was like, what the fuck at the start, so I'm very aware.
Used to the NT.
Yeah. I'm very aware
she
of like
is also a bit jealous, or like not jealous, but like envious, or there's a better word than that, but she probably likes that about you because she probably doesn't do that. She's like, man, you're so smart, you can figure this shit out. And
yeah, there's there's a weird gray zone. So if I do it not too much, it's what you're saying, she appreciates it. She's like, oh, he's smart, like I like it, he's quite smart. When I overdo it, she's like, what the fuck, dude, stop, like just stop talking.
Especially since it's like it's FISF, so it's
it's like I don't want that. Very like she's aware of what she's consuming, the FI. I don't want so it's good because now I'm aware of how NT I am based on her reaction. I'm like, interesting, I am actually
compared to
always
other
puzzling.
NTs, you're not very like,
I'm not,
at least how you present yourself, and like you're not making a lot of the demon SF mistakes. Like even ENFP guy point out, well, look at your picture. It's not like, that's actually a good picture. How did you do that as an NT? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm creating the illusion just right.
Hey, if you NT'd your SF, that's even more impressive.
Thanks, man. I guess I don't know. I'm trying to think maybe why I started working on it. I guess I don't know.
It helps that you don't have play last.
Yeah, it helps I don't have play last, and it helps my players SF, because the play is basically how you interact and relate to people. So I relate to people in an SF way. So I imagine it's probably harder for an ENTP to be more SF, because it's like their play is still intuitive. So it's like it's not as
their SF is what it's or their
it's blast. It'd be like SIFE. Or like, I think it does help that my play is SEFE as well, because the moment my NT, it doesn't, with my girlfriend, it comes out a lot because she's in my DI, but just relating to people, it's more just SF that naturally comes out. So yeah, quite fortunate because of those parts, I guess.
For sure. And I feel like, and since you have like, I mean, so I have the sleep animals right in the middle, but you also have the learning animals in the middle too.
Yeah.
Human play. So I noticed you're also like pretty balanced there, to where it's like you will like ask me stuff or ask me about certain ideas or whatever. Whereas me, like, with consume first and play second, I'd almost never do. I almost never ask people for stuff like that or questions or get my information from other people. Almost never do that. But you like are pretty good about consuming it for yourself and then like interacting with the tribe to get it.
Interesting.
Which you would think it would be the same for me because they're years, but
it's not.
No.
Maybe that's so interesting. That's actually pretty interesting. I guess trying to understand this, because I remember even like I don't know if it's to do with, I don't know what it is. That's interesting. Maybe you're just that badass at consume. You don't even need to fucking
yeah,
go
maybe
to the
that's
gym.
yeah. You're just
Like
really,
you're just that good.
you're so into consume. You're like, why would I do anything else?
Yeah.
It does feel like that actually, which is like, it's a bit arrogant because you can definitely get better information from certain people in certain circumstances, right? But it's mine is double activated savior, and they're both masculine. So it's as consume heavy as a type could possibly
as it could be, literally. Yeah.
It's the most
like maxed out
glass cannon type. It's like if I made a character in an RPG,
and
put
just
all of my
maxed
points
out
in dexterity and that's it.
yeah yeah, just fuck everything else. Yeah no. And it's I think it's also cool in a weird way. Like I think it's cool that you're so self-sufficient. Like I just think that's I always want to be self-sufficient, so it's cool.
I don't. Cool. I think it's better. Well, it's nice that you know you can rely on yourself, but at the same time, it separates you though still from others, I think.
That's exactly the whole. That's how our stick. You know, there was actually a Dr. K video. This is a good segue into Dr. K. But he did an interview with someone, and he was talking about their existential dread, and he narrowed it down to, and they basically figured out that the reason why this person had so much constant anxiety and existential dread about his life and stuff going on was because he didn't trust anyone. Like he from an early age, like this is what he said, he fixated on him being self-sufficient, and Dr. K was saying that can create an existential dread because since you don't trust anyone in the world, you put a lot of pressure on yourself to do everything. And so if things aren't perfect, if you're not doing things perfect, it can trigger a lot of stress very easily because you're all you count on. So that can create issues, and that is like the whole DI thing. I think the guy he was talking to was some OETI, maybe SETI or NETI, I think.
He talks to a lot of OE people, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah, he does actually. Talks to OE people a lot, and I don't know if DI or DE, sometimes DE, sometimes DI.
I find out there's a lot of EJs that go on there.
Yeah. I think Pokimane, she was the most EJ-ish of all.
Like Destiny's girlfriend, Melina.
I haven't seen. She was EJ. Good one. Okay.
Which makes sense because he's like TI first, so they get.
Yeah. He can give. Yeah, he can just say like, "Hey, like, you gotta take care of yourself." Like, it's very obvious for him. Yeah. True. That's why when he talks about doing the DE thing, when he's giving DE advice, I really like it because he's giving it from that DI perspective, so I can really process it. So he talks usually when he gives DE advice, he gives it in the sense of like he takes away the pressure that we feel, because as DIs we feel a lot of pressure to like be perfect for the tribe, right? But he explains it like, no, you don't have to worry about that. You're just here to show up. You just do what you can. And when you take that pressure away, it allows you to actually do stuff for the tribe, because then you're not over worried like, oh, I'm not good enough. I can't, it's not quite right yet. Let me keep working on myself until I'm the perfect thing for the tribe, So he just says, don't worry about that. Just show up,
There was like one line that kind of relates to that he said. I think it was to Mizkif, maybe, if you've seen that one. But
yeah,
Mizkif,
I've seen
like
it.
Always puts a lot of pressure on himself to be funny for the stream.
Yeah.
And he says when he tries to do it, it doesn't work out sometimes and whatever. And Dr. K was like, the problem is instead of being you, you're pretending to be you when you're on. And it's like, that's exactly what's going on. He's trying to be this funny guy that he already is, but by trying and pretending to be it,
he hampers
it up completely, right? Because you're doing something extra. You're not being yourself by trying to be yourself.
Yeah, exactly. It's really, it's like
putting that pressure on you and it's fucking everything up.
Yeah, man.
Pressure only fucks things up, I feel.
Oh yeah, you basically, like Alan Watts, like his phrase for this is, I love it. He just says you're getting in your own way. Like you're just like, you would have done it well, but then a part of you just stands in front of you and stops yourself.
That tension only fucks everything up. It fucks
exactly.
Up you know what I mean? It's like, and I think what was one quote that I really like from him. It's don't think for a second that you have to take anything seriously.
Yeah.
Really
I love it.
No, you can just do it. Instead of taking it seriously, you just do the thing.
Just do it. Yeah, man. I think
not be worried about the result of the thing.
Result, Exactly.
But then also you try to not take it seriously to do it the best, but then you're still taking it seriously by still trying to do it what you think is the best way to do it. So there's like almost no way out of it.
Yeah,
You
it's
know
a
what I mean?
really,
It's like,
it's a fucked up, like nebulous, like loop you get. And the beauty is you go through that. Like you're probably saying that because you got to that stage. It's like stages. Like the first stage is like, oh, don't take it seriously, and the next stage is wait, don't take not taking it seriously, because that also is the same thing.
then
And
eventually
then the third stage is fuck. I'm also doing it again. Oh, the trick is it actually doesn't matter. If I'm doing it again, it doesn't matter. Like you actually accept that you will do it, and then through that,
like you can't
yeah,
take it seriously.
exactly. And then through that, then you don't take it. It's a weird, and that's it. It's like the stages, and you have to like walk through it to actually experience it.
You have to acknowledge that you can't actually
not
things, or well,
yeah.
You know what I mean by that, but people watching probably don't know what I mean by that.
Yeah,
like there's no you that's pulling the levers there. Like you're a part of all of this stuff, and so
exactly
every time you're okay, don't take it serious. You can't control that because you're who's saying to not take it serious, right? The person you know what I mean. If there's not a separate you that's like
dictating.
This is Dave 2, okay? Dave number 1 did not take this serious. And there's like a Dave 3 telling Dave 2,
yes,
you should take it. And then there's a Dave 4, and like
yes, it's weird. It's funny. That is the exact imagery I have of it. Like when I'm explaining it, I'm literally imagining it like that. Like and it's an awesome thing because it's just one big joke. Like when you go through it, when you go through that process, you experience those different like levels of how like fucked you are. Like it's like, but it's like in a really like relieving way. It's very relieving to know that you're just
fucked. You really get down into it when you realize, oh wait, there's nothing I can do.
I can do, yeah. Like
you just accept it.
Yeah.
It's like the pain only comes from non-acceptance. It doesn't come from the
exactly.
It comes from whether you accept it or not.
Yeah, and that has been the most awesome thing to learn from me as well. Like even learning that from Dr. K, because he talks about the spectrum of emotions. You can feel grief, sadness, joy, love, all these emotions, but underneath those things, there's only two experiences. There's either peace or suffering, and it's exactly what you're saying. The only thing that causes suffering is not accepting whatever it is you're experiencing. So you can feel grief, you can feel sadness, and you can still be at peace because you're not the suffering is in the discontent in what you're actually
the resistance to it.
Exactly.
Like have you ever enjoyed being sad before?
Yeah sometimes
it's not supposed to be a good experience, but if you're okay with it, then it's actually kind of nice, right?
And sometimes, and like there's periods where I feel like a psychopath because I'll be really upset about something, like just like this, and then there'll be a split moment where I just like detach from myself and I kind of smile and I'm like, this is kind of funny. Then I go back to being sad and I'm like, that was weird. But then it's a weird perspective shift. Like you just kind of see it for what it is, and then you're just like, this is a cool experience. Like this is like, it's like a roller coaster. Like this is just a ride. Like amongst any other rides, it's just another ride. Like this is cool.
The only point of the suffering is because it's your brain's trying to get you to change. So it causes you to suffer, or that yourself is generating suffering, so that yourself will then change. But if you realize you can't change it, then there's no suffering.
It cuts out that whole struggle. Exactly.
It's just a self-preservation. So it's not that there's actually suffering. These are just like it's just like your nervous system when you get something that touches something that's hot. It hurts you because it's making you not touch that anymore. Of possible damage. So this is like hurting yourself, so you can like get out of the thing that you're in because you think that it's a bad thing to be in, which doesn't have to be.
It's like kind of
you're hurting yourself. Like all of these things are not in themselves painful. You're making it painful because you've said that you shouldn't have these.
Exactly. It's like, it's just a survival. It came from survival, but it's not helpful for thriving, kind of. It's like, that's how I distinguish it. Like exactly what you're saying. Like it had that physiological basis of when something bad happens.
When you're running away from like a lion or something. It doesn't work when you're worried about your taxes and shit.
Exactly. And oh man, it's awesome though. And sometimes I want everyone to know this, because then they don't have to feel bad. Like, you know,
people are really resistant to that. And to me, it feels like it's like fairly simple, but I guess even for me, it probably in the beginning wasn't simple how that works. But with that said, I think this leads us into our free will topic, which I actually have some notes. So I don't.
I'm so happy everything's just naturally. This is how I love things to play out, like organically, and it's just like this is good. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, so I was thinking about it through it this morning, because it's kind of hard to like just on the spot explain why free will doesn't really make that much sense.
Yeah.
If I'm alone sleep processing it, then it's very easy to come up with the steps. But if I'm like talking to somebody, then I'm like, well, you can't really like make a choice, because like, what is choice? And
it's hard. Yeah, it's very, because I find this with TI. Once I like work through the steps and the steps make sense and the conclusion is the conclusion, I kind of forget the steps, but I know it was right. I can't remember
the steps, and you're like, oh fuck. Trust me.
How do I build that?
I don't remember.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I feel exactly that feeling. It's hard to explain. You kind of have to stop and then think about how to explain it.
So where I started at this morning was, I thought, okay, so what's the difference between doing something by choice and just doing something? What are the difference between those two things, right? As far as what you do, I guess there's no like difference. The only difference is like, so the only thing that like you wouldn't do, or that the only scenario I can think where there's a difference is if you do something by reaction.
Okay, yeah.
Right? Like if you touch something hot and your hand moves away,
it's reflex.
Move your hand away, right?
Yeah.
Right. So in that case, okay, so there's a reaction. So the difference between just doing something and doing something by choice means you had a thought before you did the thing. To that thing, right?
The thought, which then makes you think, I did that because I had the thought.
And it's like, okay,
the thought is just supplementary.
Thought, that means I'm in control of what I just
did.
But were you in control of having that thought?
Yeah.
What's the thing that prompted that thought? Well, so I was hungry today, and that's what made me think of cereal, and then I went and had cereal. Okay, well, like, what caused you to be hungry? Well, I didn't eat a lot last night. Okay, what caused that? What caused that? What caused that?
It just keeps going back.
Well, and my genetics or what caused that? I was born with a certain enzyme that makes me hungry all the time, and blah, blah. Okay, did you choose to have that enzyme? Like, no, my parents gave me that. And it's like, okay, well, there's the end of your kind of free will, right? Like, you can always trace everything back and say, oh, this had the control. Okay, this thing that like, it's one of those things where it's like if anything has a cause, there's not free will.
Yeah.
So there's something that came before it that caused the thing, then you're not in control.
Yeah.
Right? You can always trace that back.
Mm-hmm.
So I completely skipped all of the logical connections I made in these
you
notes.
Explained it perfectly. Like that's like walking through that is like
one thing I thought was interesting is like, okay, so if the only thing that can possibly have free will is something without a cause, then can you say that the universe as a whole has free will? Because that was in itself not cause. That's something that's always been, as far as we know, something that's
I need to wrap my head around that. Okay. So you were saying, could you say that again?
Yeah. Okay. So when something is not by choice, if there's something that caused that choice.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the only thing that can make choices is something that doesn't have a cause to it.
Yeah.
Which would be the universe as a whole.
Yeah.
So would the universe as a whole have free will? Because the universe as a whole, wasn't born by somebody, wasn't raised in a rich family, or wasn't whatever. The universe is fucking everything. So like, if that's the only thing that meets the criteria for possibly having free will, since itself wasn't caused by something or isn't attached to something else, can we say that the universe has free will? Does that even make sense for something to have free will that isn't like a person or an animal or whatever?
Yeah, I guess so. But the only thing is we don't even know that. Like, we don't even know.
Like, the universe would have a sort of consciousness, which is also a term that is pretty vague. Like, so what is consciousness? It's just being able to react to the environment, right? That's all it is. So so pretty much everything is conscious if you define it that way, right? Like Like a plant is conscious because it moves towards the sun, and light or whatever. So you could say that the universe is conscious.
Damn, this goes so deep, man.
Maybe
you really just fucking like. I was just expecting the standard free will because I was like, yeah, it's easy. But yeah, you've got quite deep. Like that's so interesting. Does the universe have?
So like, if the universe was God, or if there was a beginning, or if there was something that's infinite, so people that believe in God will say, well, then God has free will. Which would still mean that we don't have free will, right?
Yeah, regardless.
All of us.
Yeah, regardless.
But maybe he just has free will. And they say, well, God's within you, so therefore you have, well, no, if God's within me and he's making the decisions through his free will, then I'm not even an actual thing, right? I'm
an NPC.
I'm like, if we all have God in us, then we're all the same thing together.
Yeah.
We're all collectively doing free will, but none of us individually is.
Yeah, exactly. Beautiful. Yeah, that's I basically I agree with that. There's an awesome book I recommend to everyone. It's called The Kabbalion. It does talk about metaphysical things. The Kabbalion.
The Kabbalion.
Kybalion. It's like a philosophy book. It talks about metaphysics, like the state of existence, like in a very logical way. It does kind of make sense, and it talks about the fact that kind of like what you're saying, like at the furthest out of existence, like we're calling it the universe, that thing, whatever was at the start, the top of the hierarchy, is the thing that has free will, like is the thing that's outside of any influence, because it is the original, whatever it is, like the universe. Like in the book it calls it the all, because it's all encompassing. And that has free will, and it's like, and it's almost exactly like how you're saying it. It's like it's within all the things that go underneath it. So it's like within us it exists. So collectively we have free will because the all has free will, but like not individually, because the moment you actually go down and you divide it and you become us, it's like that is different.
Yeah.
Like
so free will also
I agree with you.
For free will to exist, we also have to be, I have to be a me. I have to be like a Dave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Instead of like being some sort of biological material that's connected to everything else, I have to be something.
You have to be independent from your environment.
Which is how we think of ourselves. We think of ourselves as independent things from the environment. But if you take us out of the environment, we're dead.
Yeah.
The environment's influencing us all the time. Like the air influences us, the sunlight tells us when to sleep.
Yeah.
Our interaction with other people, just because we're not rooted into the ground doesn't mean that we're not connected to everything else. So it's like the free will thing also goes like kind of in line with the ego thing. You have to believe there's an ego. You have to believe there's something about you that's separate from everything else.
Exactly. That's the ego. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's the ego's job to create divisions, and it has its purpose. And this is why I think believing you have free will is a functional. It's
protection. It's evolution.
Yeah.
It has to be there. Yeah.
And it's like there's a beautiful like explanation of this, like the ego and also thinking you have free will. It's like you have to understand that this is different from me, so that I can do something with it in order to like encourage conducive behavior. So you act on your environment. You have to have a framework where you separate yourself so you know what to do. It's like children, it's called theory of mind. Like when before the age of 3 or something, or before the age of 5, kids think everything is one. Like they don't understand the difference between, so they think,
teach them to think in this like egotistical way.
Yeah, no, it's like, I guess it's like so Dr. K talks a little bit about this. He talks about it in a fucked up way, because he's like, if a kid doesn't have theory of mind, so they think everything is them and everything is, you know, all the same. If they get sexually abused, then they think it's their fault. It's a really fucked up thing. Yeah. But theory of mind develops so that you can actually distinguish things in the world. So you can functionally act. So it does have a functional role, but that's where it's a difference, because it's purely functional. It's not actual reality. Like your ego exists to help you be functional, but it doesn't mean it exists. It's like, true. It's a difference between,
It's just like our perception, like color is not true, right? It's just a sensation in our brain. Sound is not true. It's just a vibration of air molecules, right? So it might not be the truth, but senses allow us to.
It just works. Yeah, exactly. So that's how I see it. And I'm like, I can't help but assume I have free. Like I'm constantly acting as if I have free will. Like I can't help.
Yeah, same.
There's this sense of control, but it's functional. And that, from a logical standpoint, like I know it's not real, but I'm still gonna do it. So that's me. That's like how I see free will, and it's like everything. I agree with everything you're saying as well.
We're in the line. Have we ever not been in alignment about anything?
It's really weird. Yeah, it's
super weird. Like, yeah, I can't think of one thing where we've had like a different opinion.
And and it's so surprising. Like we are the same quadra, but I don't know. I guess I mean, when we are really as an INFJ, I'm the closest to an ISTP that's possible. So
like
maybe
that's INFJ ISTP hybrid. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe that's why we're so aligned. I don't know, because even like I've seen how type twins can seem really different. So even then, it's still also weird.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, totally.
Even then, but it's good. It's a good thing. So. Yeah. Oh man. There's the explanation you gave for free will, where you were explaining the line of thought, like where you have a reaction or a behavior, and you feel like, okay, this thought is what created it. But then if you question that, you realize there is no free
reaction, just like the other.
It's just exactly. The thought itself is a reaction in itself as well. It's just a cascade of reactions, because that's
from
how
the very beginning, if there is a beginning.
Yeah. Exactly.
What we're doing right now is a direct cause of like the Big Bang or whatever like that.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Like I don't even need to go deep into it, but yeah, basically, yeah. And Sam Harris also, he explains what you said, and he says it he also adds this, which is really funny. He's like, because he'll say that someone won't believe him, so then he'll say, fine, try. Wait. So Sam Harris, he says, we're just in a constant stream of choice. You can't not have a choice. Like whether you choose this or that, like you have to choose. Like you're constantly in that stream.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying how if you try to not choose, if you try to do nothing, like try it. Like I'm butchering.
If you try to do nothing, it's still a choice.
Yeah, it's still a choice. Like, and you're always choosing, and that choice always comes from something. And it's like you're forced.
Choosing not to choose is still choosing.
Yeah, and it's like he explained it better, but you get the gist of this. Yeah. I don't know if
he
the
audience
explains
everything so perfectly.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome. Yeah, I do really like Sam Harris, man.
Yeah,
I can't.
He gets shit on. I was like,
when
I first joined OP, they did a class on Sam Harris.
Yeah.
When I first joined, and they were like shitting on all of them. I was like, how are they gonna do this to Sam? Like, and they showed like his worst interviews where he's like,
I know, it's not fair. I don't think it's fair. I know he can come off abrasively, but I don't think he's as bad as like they portrayed. Or I think he's great.
They seem to portray Jordan Peterson in like a really alpha light, but not Sam Harris. And I feel like kind of the criticisms you could have, I think, for both. Like, so the criticism you can have for Sam Harris is that he tells you what is true. So usually it's about the Muslim world when it comes to the heat that he gets. He just tells you what is true, but he doesn't give you anything prescriptive. He doesn't tell you what to do about it. So people take that and then they interpret this data this way and they decide. Same with Jordan Peterson says like, well, I'm just telling you the data about women and men. Women wearing makeup. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't wear makeup. I'm just giving you the data. Right wingers take that and they say, oh, well, we should just women should just be in the kitchen. So it's like they have to give a prescription there, or else people take that and run with it, and it's a negative influence. So that's the only gripe I think you can have. But like, what is Sam Harris doing that's so bad? Other than giving a prescription for stuff. Do you know what I mean?
And that sucks, man. That's like
the pure TI thing to do. I'm not gonna tell you what to do.
Exactly.
Here's the logic. You do whatever you want with it. I'm not responsible.
I was just about to say, that's the like the typical trife of the TI. It's like we're trying to be analytical, and then what will happen is there'll be a spin-off on this thing that it wasn't like a value statement, but then it gets turned into a value statement by other people, and it's like it's annoying. But oh man, I'm trying to think. There's awesome videos about people. There was actually a study related to free will. They showed that when because they were doing like an experiment where someone had to like touch something or move their arm or something, and they were seeing like
I think I know this one.
Yeah, it's like the standard one. It's like they're trying to see at what point neurologically do you decide to move? Are you deciding before you actually move and whatever? And they found that there was a signal in your brain that signals you to move before the conscious part of your brain is even aware. So the conscious part of your brain is only aware after the fact. Yeah. So like how like that. And dude, to be fair, Jordan Peterson, he said something interesting about free will. I think he believes in it, but he believes in a interesting version of it. And I was trying to add, because it was a good point. His point was free. He wasn't necessarily seeing it in black and white, but he was seeing it in a way where it was like he was saying free will. The closer you are to the present moment, the less free will you have. The more you're considering something long term, the more free will you have. So it kind of makes sense in a logical way where you can plan ahead, but you can't plan about, like, as I'm saying these words now, my brain is doing things automatically. I can't choose those things.
Oh, I see.
I can think ahead. So he was saying free will.
Decision gets closer to the action, the less you're planning out.
Less free will. Yeah, it degrades. Yeah, it was a good point. I did understand that in a logical way where you have less control. You have less fake control, if that makes sense. Because there's still a fake version of control, thinking you can choose things. Because even if you plan ahead, there's something in you that's causing you to plan ahead that you didn't have control over. So it's still not free will, but it's a fake free will that has more agency if you look more into the future. If that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it makes sense. Yeah. But I love the part where it's like the action comes first, then the perception. The perception can't come first.
Yeah.
Then you think, well, I thought about doing it before I did it. But the thought came and then you perceived the thought. So you were aware of the thought after the thought occurred.
Yeah.
First. So it's like the part of you that you associate with being you is just an observer. Like it doesn't actually do anything. It just scans. Like it just is aware of your thoughts. It's aware of how cold it is outside. You know what I mean? I feel like the closer we get in our mind to using that part of our brain just to observe and to try not to like make decisions or try not to like, because that's where the tension comes from, right? Like when you're trying too hard or whatever, it comes from you trying to control stuff with that part of your brain that's just meant to observe stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's why it fucks stuff up somehow, because it's no longer observing. Now it's trying to do something that it's not able to do.
It's juggling too many things rather than just doing what it was gonna do anyways. Have you heard of flow states and stuff like that?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah,
something about something being just hard enough but not too easy.
Yes. Exactly. It's like you want it exactly how you said it, and it's a state in which you kind of perform your best and you feel your best. It's like a state of optimal
it was like arousal and how difficult it is.
Exactly. Exactly. And what they found was even the scans even in freestyle rappers doing their rap, and they found this in flow states. The part of your brain that's like the self-editing part of your brain, where it's like self-aware, the ego aspect of your brain, that part goes dim when you're in these states. And that's when you're doing your best at anything. And that's when and what happens as well, it's actually literally how you described it neurologically, because what happens is that part goes dim and it allows all your other regions of your brain to communicate. There's more connection with all your parts of your brain, and it's called temporal transient hypofrontality. So transient, it's temporary. Hypo, which is less, and frontality because it's less activity on your prefrontal cortex, and it goes dimmer. So then everything, it's like the net effect
like
is
your brain gets like hyper connected.
Yeah, exactly. So and so even
it's
from that,
when you're on like psychedelic drugs as well, they say your brain is hyper connected and you lose part of your. So it's kind of, I don't know if those are
fucking, it's probably I definitely, for sure. And it's fucking awesome because it's like, even neurologically we know you're just better when you stop getting in your way. Like literally, like you need to turn it off. You need to know when to turn it off and on. It's like, that's what they're doing, a lot of research into that. I love that shit. It's called the Flow Genome Project. Especially, and they're just trying to,
like with music, when you're trying to play something, if you're listening to what you're playing and looking for mistakes, you'll fuck it up.
Yeah,
When
you were telling me this.
Something and send it to somebody, I can't play with shit. I'm so bad at the handheld
yeah.
thing. But when I'm just fucking around, it's like great.
It works better. Yeah, you were telling me this. Like you're super hypercritical as you're doing the thing, which stops you like from doing.
You're
You
using
were
part of
telling
your
me
brain to criticize when you need to use that part of your brain to actually play it, right?
exactly.
But
Yeah.
like at the same time, you can't turn it off unless you stop caring about how good it is.
Yes.
So hard to get rid of. Too.
Hard to get rid of. It's the whole. But it also weirdly comes back to what we were saying earlier, where you accept your fucks, you just accept it, and then it kind of goes away. Weird. Oh, it's such a cool thing. It's like a cruel joke. It's like someone
it's
set
funny,
up this
yet cruel,
little trap that humans have to go through, where they see how retarded they are, and then they find it. It's like
when people get enlightened, they usually just laugh.
Yeah, because it's
like,
it's
this
just
is ridiculous. Like,
it is, and it's I can't even it's just one big joke. And I always used to really like listening to Alan Watts because he had that demeanor where it's like, it's all one big joke. Don't worry about your choices. It'll all come out in the wash one way or another. Makes you feel
better about everything.
Just chill out. And I liked it because exactly that. Like it made me feel better. I was like, this is just a good outlook. I feel more relaxed. But when I actually went through not enlightenment, but like the stuff we're talking about, where you go through these realizations, then I got the joke. I got, you just get it. And there's no, it's like when he says that thing about this whole student and teacher thing, where a student is like, what is this thing? And then, or what is now? And then the teacher just you can't, it's just, you just need to get it. It is so weird once you do, because you can't, any communication doesn't quite express the realization for what it is.
Like Zen is just trying to point you at what is there. Whenever you try to explain stuff, it's not really there.
Yeah.
It's just, so what is life? What is all this stuff?
It's like this is it. And to the outside person, or to the person that doesn't have the realization, you don't quite, because when I didn't realize what he meant, I just took it at face value. I was like, I mean, that makes sense. I don't quite, it doesn't hit me, but I get what you're saying. But then it's like when you're inside the joke, it's like an inside joke. When you do have that internal, okay, I get it, then you're like, yeah, it really is this is it.
It's like, I think I told you this, actually, I think on the first episode, but the example where the guy with the pot full of water or whatever, and he's asking all of his disciples, okay, and he's like, well, it's a pot full of water. He's like, nope. It's a container device. Nope. Some guy comes and just knocks it over. That guy gets it.
Yeah. Oh man. I also think I get so excited because it's like my demon SC, and it's just so fucking awesome.
Yeah. This stuff is so good for I think NI users and
well,
I mean even for anyone.
For anyone, because our brain, even though we have these types and everything, as a collective, we are more intuitive. Our brains have been we've been developing our intuitive mind over civilizations, more and more. The more we become very aware and logical, and just as a species, we're all very intuitive relative to many years ago. So it's that's why it's so helpful for everyone, because we are all technically super N over S, just collectively.
Yeah, there are people focusing on the future.
We all do it.
Really.
Exactly. And OP does look at the relative differences in the population, but we are just hampered by our intuition, just generally. So it's super helpful, I think, for everyone. Yeah.
I think for me, Dr. K has been super helpful as well. Not on Alan Watts level, but he's a lot of his advice is so it's so amazing, and it always you can always read OP into it as well. The advice he gives, oh, he's given the FE Savior DI advice: do something for yourself. It's not selfish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or he's giving OI people or OE people advice to kind of stick with something and etc. So so our group therapy thing is over, unfortunately. It was well, we still have it, but not with Dr. K anymore.
Okay.
So, the last week was our last one with Dr. K.
Dr. K. Oh.
because it was like it was almost 4 months.
Yeah, man.
1, 2.
That's
4 months.
It was 4 months
with Dr. K, and we had to say goodbye. And at the very last session, we all said, we had like a super effy moment where everyone went around and we were like, okay, Steve, there's no Steve, but everyone say what they think about Steve. And everyone said, Steve, I think you're really intelligent. I think blah, blah. I really liked when you did this in this one session. We all did that with each other. People started crying. It was like super crazy and emotional.
That's awesome.
Guy, it was like a fucking scene out of a movie. One guy in the group is like really depressed, and he's like talking about how the other day he just enjoyed making his bed. And he said without the group, he would have never wouldn't ever imagine that like he would just one day just have so much joy from making his bed. Tears are streaming down his face, and he said it so passionately, and it was like, wow, this is so crazy. Like,
and you know, there's a scene. It just reminded me of a scene in Fight Club. It's not super related. I was just gonna say the amazing thing about what that guy said is he's enjoying something that even people that aren't depressed will never understand the joy of.
That's true. Yeah.
Like it's like he found super bliss, like that kind of enjoyment in something so trivial. Like that's awesome. It's like in Fight Club, there's a scene where he threatened some guy to get his degree. He was like, have you seen Fight Club?
I have. I don't remember that part though.
There's I'll try to set the scene. There's like a guy in a shop, and Brad Pitt comes in, drags him out. He gets a gun. He's like, what do you do? Like, what did you want to do? And he was like, I wanted to become a vet, but now I'm working at this shop. And he was like, well, if you make sure you better be on your way to being a vet in a week. Otherwise, I'm gonna kill you. And then Edward Norton was like, the guy ran away crying, and Edward Norton was like, what the fuck? Like, you fucked him up. And then Brad Pitt was like, no, you don't understand. Like, he's gonna experience a joy that no one will ever experience. It's kind of like from such a negative thing, you get that super positive thing.
Now he has no choice, and now it's going to be easy for him to accept whatever he has to accept.
And he gets to that place that exceeds other people, and it's very abstractly related. But just with this guy, it just sounds like he found this place that even like maybe if you even weren't depressed, you would never find that joy. I don't know. I love those like weird it's like it does mean something. Like going through that shit kind of it's not just meaningless. You actually, it's like a journey. You kind of just find your way back home.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
So I feel like we should probably introduce who Dr. K is. People, I guess, that are watching. Dr. K is a Harvard psychiatrist, right? He prescribes drugs. That gives people, well, I guess you can't really call it therapy. It's not because it's online. You can't say that it's actual therapy, or you can't do diagnosis. But like, so he interviews famous Twitch streamers and random people that are, I guess, well known on the internet, and he like kind of helps them with the problems. Actually, doesn't really help them, but helps them discover what the problems are, and maybe help them like sort of walk through it. And he's made, I don't know, it seems like pretty big differences in people's lives, not to the people that he's talked to, I mean them too, but like to everyone watching him. And he broke the record for Twitch streams or viewers the other day.
Oh shit!
One stream broke the fucking record.
I didn't even know.
This thing has blown up. It just started, I think, in January or something.
Yeah.
And it's already like taking over like the internet now. It's so crazy.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Yeah,
that's why he canceled the therapy, was because like he doesn't have time to do the therapy. He has to focus on training coaches and doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, that's why he stopped doing it. Otherwise, might have kept going. But this thing is becoming bigger than himself.
Yeah.
With this whole thing, so
he's fucking killing it, man. It's insane.
What's funny is he like, or at least he told us, maybe he said this in the video as well, but he didn't do shit for so long. Like he not until his 30s, I think he went to like actual medical school or something like that.
Yeah.
He tried to go and be a Buddhist monk for a while. He said before that he just played video games and didn't do shit all day. It was just kind of in the same rut everyone else is that he's talking to, basically. And he's like made it out.
Yeah.
And now he like knows what to say.
Exactly.
Do you have what were your thoughts on his type? I think
dude, like you gotta stop doing this. You have to stop literally saying the things in my head. Like it's happened like a few times. Oh no, that one was really weird. That was actually freaky. Oh fuck. It's worse. It's worse when you're the receiver. So when you have the thought and someone speaks it out loud, it's weirder for you than it is for them. because I like as you were talking, I was like, all right, time to segue into his type. I want to ask Dave about his type, and then you just say, yeah. So what are your thoughts on his type? I'm like, what the fuck? Okay, oh my god.
Crazy.
So what I was gonna ask you, I was gonna throw something at you, because I know what type you thought he might be, just from you spending so much time with him.
Yeah.
But after watching the Israel Adesanya video, I was just thinking, like, could you see him as a glass lizard ISTP, like TI sleep blast play? Oh, I'm just very curious about that. I don't know what it is about his maybe it's just demon S or
no, I couldn't see him as that. And the reason I couldn't see him as that is because there's one thing that he says a lot in the group, that he has to talk to think. Like he has to blast to be able to understand his thoughts, which could either be save your TE, or it could mean that you have sleep blast. Because I've heard this from Prem as well, that like for him, he doesn't really know what he's going to say. And he doesn't really know his stuff so much until he starts blasting it. And then he's hearing it and understanding it. So I'm thinking Dr. K could be like a sleep blast TI something, I would think.
Interesting. Blast.
Sleep blast. Yeah. So I don't think he's TINI, just because I don't think he's.
Yeah. Interesting. He does this thing. I mean, I'm not contesting, but this is just something I like. Even like in the last video, because he always stops and pauses. Let me think about that.
Yeah.
And there was a guy. The guy he interviewed was like, he was like, oh, you always do that. You stop and think about that. You stop and see if there's any cognitive dissonance, like if someone gives information. And he was saying, do you see people normally doing that in society? Like people don't normally do that. Like, do you think it's good? And he's like, Donsky was like, yeah, I think it's a good thing. I'm glad I do it. People don't normally do it, but I think it's good. That seemed like a sleep thing, but I don't know.
Sure.
Maybe that's just TI.
But like also,
maybe that's just TI.
I've also heard that sleep people basically can't do that on the fly, that they have to just give you what they've pre-processed. Like I know Shave is about this. Like
interesting.
Like when they were doing that ISFP, the guy with the red hair, that's really funny.
Yeah. What's his name? Yeah, he's got long hair, right? He is kind of funny. I've seen these videos. Yeah.
So he's CS, right? He's consumed sleep, and they were like, well, you see how like
it's loaded.
Question.
Yeah.
He didn't respond to the question. He said no, and he geared it towards something he had already slept on instead.
Yeah.
You'll see Save Your Sleep people do that, to where they'll have to. So I think actually when you process it on demand like that, which what they've talked about, I think that's actually
play.
But he actually like gives himself time. Like for me, when I'm talking, there's times that I want to do that, where I'm like, oh wait, I have to process this before I can say it. I'm like, no, it's taking too long, and I'll just say I don't know. But he is actually giving himself permission to stop. So I don't know if that's a learned thing or if it's it's hard to say, because it does also feel like a sleep thing too, because you have to process. So
right. That's a very good nuance,
especially with all the shit that he's doing, which is anecdotal, I guess. But he does. I get okay. So does he seem infodom-y? I guess that's one thing, because you would have to be infodom if he was sleep blast. So is he? He's definitely giving information out. And he's keeping in touch. As soon as Reckful passed away, he had a video immediately talking about that. Now, is he consuming information? It doesn't seem like he's the best at consuming, because he's so boomerish all the time.
Yeah, dude, he consumes weird. Like the dude in the last video was like, he made a joke about like, so Dr. was like, oh, we're gonna meditate. How do you feel about looking silly on camera? Like, do you mind? And the guy made a joke. He was like, oh, are we gonna like, I don't mind. Like, are we gonna twerk or something? And then Dr. was like, what is that? And then a guy was like,
"How do you not know what that is? That's not even."
Yeah, he has those. He does. Yeah, like he does that a lot. It seems.
This coincides with, you know how he's always making weird facial expressions and stuff. Shave has also talked about being low consume and not being aware of your external self, to like the way you're presenting it, the way you're there's so much. So that could also be. So maybe he is like. No, that would mean he'd have to be like play blast or blast play or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But this is such a pain in the ass type.
Because he does seem DI. One thing at least, like, would you say he's like definitely DI, like Savior DI or Savior TI? Or is that even that contestable? Oh my
I would
God.
say he's masculine DI. I can't tell if it's Savior. It's not. I don't think it's last.
You can't even tell if it's Savior. This dude, he's so alpha that you can't.
Yeah, you can't tell
You
because he's
can't
like.
tell.
It does feel like his DI is masculine. I can say that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's.
You can't tell if it's Savior or not. Interesting. Yeah. What about Savior Intuitive? Like we have that maybe to stand
I think
on?
Yeah, I'm leaning towards that, especially with like he's talked kind of some about his problems that are kind of sensory related.
Sensory related, yeah. But it also seems really like he has masculine
he's really
sensory.
bad with time. So I don't know if he's masculine sensory.
You don't even.
We're usually really good with time. He completely fucks up the time on our sessions all because he's like, okay, we have about 10 minutes left, so let's wrap this up. So let's do you, and I'm like, dude, that's gonna take like an hour. And so we start doing it, and it goes way 30 minutes past what we just said. I'm like, dude, why did you?
You knew that. Yeah, you should have known that.
Every time that I'm like, dude, no, this is not.
It's not gonna work. Yeah.
It's like we've run over 15 minutes late. No, we've actually run over an hour and a half late. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
It could be that he's still masculine sensory because he still is paying attention to time, but I guess you have to. But we always go late all the time.
Yeah, always.
But like when you're masculine sensory, you always like don't mess that up, and you're always
time. Yeah.
So I don't know if it's Demon S, it could still be like that if it's masculine. So it's definitely not.
Yeah, it could. That's true.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Fuck. Yeah.
I'm leaning towards intuitive as well.
So all you have. So if you were just to guess, just what are like? Yeah.
I think he's probably an ENTP. I think he's probably close to. Or Jordan Peterson, I guess. Peterson last, right? Or is he last?
Peterson is sleep last. Yeah.
Yeah, and
so
he would. FF.
And you know what's funny?
Yeah.
People liken him to Peterson as well. Like I showed my friend Dr. K, and one of the first things he was saying about him was like, he reminds me of Jordan Peterson. And I thought, that's interesting. That is quite interesting. So it might be.
He doesn't remind me of Jordan Peterson.
He doesn't personally. Not me either. But I was wondering, like maybe the tribe can see something. I don't know. I don't see it though personally.
Yeah. I think what you said about
he seems more masculine sense. Sorry.
I think what you said earlier, not on this call, but before, about him being NT and having these SF mistakes, I think totally makes sense though. It does seem like his demon is definitely not demon in F. He definitely
definitely
demon ST. No, he's like there, I think.
He tries to.
I don't really see that either.
Yeah.
Demon SF.
Yeah, of all.
I can kind of see.
Yeah, he fucks up with the SF, and it's kind of like it's cute though. It's not like a bad thing. Yeah, it's just like it's endearing. Like people react like, oh, that's boomerish or like whatever. But yeah, it's more. You can see the SF is like the lagging one relative to the other letters.
So I think so we can bank on NT then. I think that's fair. I think feminine DE we can also say. What else?
He seems masculine T. Like he seems like
yeah.
So that would imply masculine TI.
Yeah.
And feminine, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then for the N, is he gathering or is he organizing?
I can't tell. Honestly. Yeah.
He does channel change a lot, and he's very comfortable with that in our therapy sessions, I would say. So could be OE.
Leans to I.
I think I have. But it seems like, and then also going to like his way of solving issues is usually more information, right? Usually going to like an ashram or whatever for 7 years.
Yeah.
Problems or whatever, or
it's hard, man. I really want to know his type. I sent Shave an email to get him typed.
Okay, that would be awesome if they.
Yeah, it would.
Somebody needs to interview him.
Yeah,
he's always doing the interviewing. I think somebody.
Yeah.
So I think ENTP, I guess fits it. I guess it could also be INTP, but I feel like I see more observer issues than.
He always has an observer like frustration, freak out. Yeah. Every recording.
Every time.
You gotta love him though.
So you had some other question here. Guess his type, advice for. So advice for savior thinkers to get in touch with their demon F. Have you seen him talk about that a lot?
It was I haven't been paying too much attention to it now as much because once you get the information, that's it. Kind of. At the start, I was just really aware of, like, he would always talk about how gamers have they're prevalent with alexithymia, which means you can't really get a sense of your own emotions and
Yeah,
other
yeah, it's
people's
talked about that.
emotions.
Yeah.
So he talks about getting in touch with that through kind of, oh, it just starts with simple awareness. It's simple awareness, and it's like, meditation goes into that. But you don't really need to meditate. You just need to be paying attention. And he talks about he has a beautiful phrase. He says um um awareness precedes control. So if you want to be good with your emotions, if you want to have good um emotional energy, which is important for, like, if you want to do something to motivate and all those things. Like, people have issues with, oh, I'm not doing shit, I'm not motivated, I have imposter syndrome, like they have these problems. But you can get control of those problems more when you're more aware of your emotions. So he kind of builds it like a block, like a logical block. Like,
Does he
it
tell you
starts
like
with
any
awareness.
stuff to do for the alexithymic or alexithymia or however you say it?
Yeah. I guess, I mean, I do meditation, but he also talks about, like, um meditation is the clearest package I can give. Like, if you but meditation's a bit,
Like what
we
kind of
can,
meditation? Does he say
yeah,
like
what kind of
metta or
meditation?
something like that?
Sorry?
Does he say like do metta meditation, like the emotional types of meditation, or does he just say meditation in general?
I This is the thing, you probably know this more. Like,
I
you'd
think
know
you watch
which.
more of his videos than I do, and he hasn't talked about
Really?
meditation in our group at all, really.
Oh, okay. For me, my emotions come up regardless of what meditation I do. Sometimes I cry, sometimes I laugh, sometimes I cry and laugh, then cry again, then laugh.
Oh
It's
wow.
like a weird, like, it just comes out. But I've noticed, though, he can tailor specific ones, like what you're saying. He does tailor specific ones. So, like, oh yeah, there was a guy who seemed like a psychopath, and he said to him,
Oh, I've seen that one. Yeah, yeah.
I actually thought that I related to that guy in a weird way, because you're saying how there's a social chameleon aspect because you don't really know your emotions and it's all. But anyways, he was like, okay, stop for a second, close your eyes, and he was asking him to recall. Um, this it was to do with his girlfriend. So recall the first time you met her, and the guy was recalling the experience, and then he was like, tune into that feeling, like where in your body. He talks about physically feeling it because
Yeah.
it's not a thing you're used to. The easiest way is to notice the physical expression. And then when he started noticing it, he just started crying. And this is
Yeah,
a
I
guy
remember
that,
that.
like,
Crazy, right?
doesn't experience feelings. Yeah, it's wild. That, like, something, like, it's like it's there. So he did that, told him to notice it in his body, follow it, just let it be, and the emotions came out. Then he told him, switch to a negative memory. Then he said, notice how that feels. And then he was telling him, practice that every day, so you basically
Okay.
refine your emotional palate. It's like a taste palate that is numb when you don't
Mhm.
feel emotions. So the more you open that palette to a spectrum, I guess it's like FE. It's like opening that palette to the spectrum of emotions. It builds your own awareness, because then you're more aware. And then, like he says, awareness precedes control, or he says stuff like a good diagnosis precedes a good treatment. So the more you know what's going on, the more you'll build understanding of what to do. So it's like, yeah. So just that's
Okay.
the good starting point, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. And then and then you've also seen him help on people work with their sensory stuff as well, demon sensing.
Yeah. Demon sensory stuff. Yeah.
So
So
it's like he's helping people with the stuff that he had to work on
he's,
probably.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it's so good, because he's teaching, especially for me, if I'm NT, he's showing me what SF is through because if an SF person is telling me SF, it's hard, because it's like they just do that naturally. But when it's someone that has
Yeah. Like
conquered
how do
their
you tell
demons,
somebody about NT? I couldn't tell somebody about ST. It's like, dude,
yeah,
say it how it should be said.
exactly. Yeah, like NT to me, what NT is to me, I just have shit just comes in my head. Like, sometimes I tell you my ideas. Like, it's just like it just comes to me. Like I'm not even doing anything. It's so automatic that like I just think of an idea. I'm like, that makes sense in a conceptual way. I don't even need to see it in a sensory way. I don't need to see if it matters to anyone. I think that makes sense. Let me just share this confidently to Dave, assuming it's true. Then you'll be like, oh, how do you? What about this? What about this? And I'll be like, oh shit! Like, why did I just assume that was? But that's yeah, because it's automatic, and yeah, so it's harder to teach someone that if it's such a reflexive thing. But if someone has to learn that, they know the building blocks.
Yeah,
so he teaches it, and I'm like, yeah, this is how you do it. This is like how anyone can do SF, or like F, Demon F, and then Demon S. Like yeah.
There was a part in our group therapy where he was like explaining how to like ST stuff pretty much.
And
it was just like, okay, so we were all going to do something that week that we didn't want to do, that we needed to get done. Like somebody was procrastinating on something they needed to draw for somebody. And they're like, okay, so what's your thing you have to do today? Well, I'm going to draw this thing for my friend. Like, no, that's not how you do it. What are you going to do? And you have to break it down. Okay. Tomorrow, Friday, I am going to draw the outline of the thing at 11 o'clock. So you had to like break it down into sensory stuff.
Yeah. I love it.
Like we had to go through each person, but everyone was like really struggling with that. It was like a thing where it's like, well, I'm going to review my resume. Okay, what does that mean? You gotta break it down to where you have actions and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, he calls it operationalizing it, and he. This was one of his first videos I watched. He wasn't doing an interview. He was doing a talk, like lecturing. He was talking about how gamers are optimized to work in closed-ended problems or closed loop problems where all of the operationalized. I'm talking to NT. Let me just this for the audience. I'm gonna try make it more understandable. So he's talking about how gamers their brains are optimized to work in things where the rules are already like the S is already decided. Like this objective, you have to do this objective. Yeah, and you just do it, right? Whereas reality is more nebulous. Like actual real life is open-ended. There's no like get a job. Like let's say you want to get a job. That's an open-ended problem.
In the game, it's like kill 5 minions or something like that.
And it does it for you. So the trick in doing these open-ended problems is operationalizing it. So turning it into sensory blocks. So like, what's get a job? Get a job is the abstract outcome, but it won't get me to act. I need to create the sensory, just like you're saying. And that's the cool thing, because so you got value of that, even though like your savior sensory, it's like, this is why I think it's cool, because it's like, I feel like our minds naturally are intuitive. So like, even like you'll get value of that, like anyone would. It's not just, oh, if you're super intuitive, you need to do this. Like, there's a productivity system I do called GTD by David Allen. He's like a savior NI too.
That's the one where you store away everything you have to remember. You have to do off to something else. Your brain's not keeping track of it, right?
Exactly.
Is that something? Okay, can I ask you a question? But was that like something you already naturally did before you reading his theory?
No, I tried to just keep everything in my head, but I'd always be overwhelmed because it just felt overwhelming, and it was almost like it would create anxiety because I have all this shit in my head. I'm trying to plan ahead. I'm trying to do this now. It's like everything's conflating.
My theory was that everyone in this quadra, or everyone that isn't NITI last, does this automatically, because it is like a very NITI thing.
To as in to automatically externalize it, or do you mean to? Interesting. I needed to learn that from David Allen. No, but like it is. I think you're right in the sense that's how we naturally operate at our best.
Okay.
Like that's what we do, because I'm realizing this is how I work, like in a NISE way. I agree with but for whatever reason I never like did that. But David Allen, in that process, he talks about the value in next actions, which is like the basis of this whole system, because you turn every abstract outcome into an action. What is the next action you can do so that you can actually act on it? So it's learning, and the GTD system has had so much success worldwide. It's not like just for intuitives. So it's like it's just it underpins what can help anyone kind of thing.
Okay.
So that's yeah. But it's possible that I'm just assuming the world works the way it does for an intuitive just because I'm an intuitive. That's also possible.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Okay.
I do have some science behind it, so maybe there's some truth to it.
It works really well. I mean, because it's like why would you want to sit there and have to constantly go through your head all of the time, remember stuff. For me, like as a kid, I had a problem with that. Like when I was really young, I told you I had like OCD symptoms, and I'd always have to think,
yeah.
What's this gonna happen? What's this gonna happen? What about this? What about this? Oh, I have to do this. We'll forget. I used to forget shit all the time when I was a kid, and I would get in so much trouble for that. Every day I would forget something to school. I had like 5 things I had to take with me.
That's like me.
Taekwondo lessons, and then I'd have to take food, and I have to take this, my books.
Yeah.
Every day I would forget something, literally every day. My parents were getting pissed off. And it got to where like I developed this OCD where it's like, don't forget.
Yeah, yes. Yeah,
so eventually like I had to like do basically that where I'm just going to put everything onto this list. And I'm only going to remember to check the list. I'm not going to remember or think about
the actual thing. Yeah.
Just simplify it. And I simplify it down to just the list controls everything.
Yeah.
Now,
do you think
to the list?
I'm that. Even with shopping, if I don't have a list, I will. It doesn't. Even if I need to get 3 things, it doesn't matter what. Like I will forget if I don't have a list. I'll forget something.
Do you end up buying random stuff like when you go, or you just didn't?
That like I'll get.
Oh shit! I'll take that.
Yeah, I'll want to get something different, and then I'll also override what I wanted to get originally. So like I'll just get different things. And I was thinking just now when you were talking about that, do you think it's because you are a double observer, and like David Allen is too?
Yeah.
Like I don't know, maybe it's like you like figured it out yourself because of that double observing. And like I didn't because I'm like too all in. I just want more
room in my brain to OE. I can't OE if I'm sitting here like having like organizing shit all the time in my head.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why anyone wouldn't do it that way. Like that's the only way to do it. Why would you sit there
it's fucking
constantly? Because it's like torture.
It's torture, man. Yeah. Genuinely, like how you're expressing is exactly how I feel. Like, why the fuck didn't I do this long? Like, I wish I learned this thing a long time ago, man. I'm just like, imagine the shit I could do. You know, like I feel like it held me back a lot. Just like in acting, you can't like act. You can't like because you're too hampered. You have too much shit in your head to even move. It's almost like you're paralyzed.
Yeah, exactly. Like if I have something to do, like within 2 or 3 hours, I can't do anything else.
We spoke about
So now I've set like an alarm so I can forget about it like a certain amount of time beforehand to where I need to get ready or do I need to think about it an hour before, whatever. And then I'd be like, okay, I'm not gonna think about anything. I'm not gonna focus on this anymore. I'll do whatever. When the alarm goes, then I'll fuck with this. But I'm gonna give my brain space to think whatever. You do the same thing?
No, that's why I'm reacting like that, because that's so it's so simple and so genius that like I'm like, why the fuck haven't I done this? I have had the thoughts of like, oh, I should set like a timer 30 minutes before, like what you said, but I've never actually done it. But it's just, you know, when someone says something that you should be doing, like it's
I should have thought of that. Like
like all right, thanks a lot. Like that's actually, it's like the audience doesn't know, but like that, it's such a problem. Like you know how it feels because like your entire day is fucked.
Yeah,
like
the bigger the moment is, the more like you're gonna be thinking about it, and like, you can't do anything else.
Yeah, it's so weird. So if I just do that, that just gives me a lot more brain space.
How much time do I need to get ready for this? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna set an alarm for an hour before, and then I'm just do whatever the fuck I want.
You know, it's weird. And I think this is also because I'm like single activated and it's feminine. I think this is part of it. But like, I have these thoughts, like everything you're saying, I'll think about doing it. I'll think about, oh, if I do this, it'll be more organized. Like if I,
you probably already came to the conclusion.
But then I just don't do. I'd rather just go with the flow. Like and what I end up actually doing is I just do my own thing, enjoy the day, and then when it comes to the thing, I start panicking, and like it's like a last minute rush. I'm like, fuck, let me get this thing. Like it always ends up. I know what I'm supposed to do, but I don't do it. It's like the consume play animals come after sleep, take control. The blast never actually activates. I never actually So I'm really impressed, actually. Like you actually, I guess yeah, it's good, like double observing, and it's like you're actually owning that OI, you know, like that's awesome.
I own it enough to where I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, that's fucking
just barely. So like, are you all? So you're probably also doing this, but something else I like to do about like the feminine NI thing. Anytime I have a thought or a eureka moment, I put it in my to-do-ist under like a project, and then I have a reminder each month to look over the patterns that I've like discovered.
Interesting.
That way they constantly recycle themselves. Until I remember them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do the same thing. The only difference is mine. I review it more frequently.
Okay.
So I'll review it. I guess this is like I have high sleep, and your sleep is like you'll do it after the play.
For me, if I review it too much, then it'll become nothing. If I review it all the time, I'll just pass through it in my brain. You know what I mean? Because it won't be fresh enough.
Yeah, there's too much. You're viewing too.
And it only hits me if I space it.
I get you. Yeah, you need. It's almost like when you're doing studying, you need spaced repetition and learning. Like if you keep doing it every day, it's not sinking. If you learn something, wait a week and then relearn it, that's when it sinks. So I get that. That makes sense. Maybe I review too often because I do it.
Maybe
I do it daily.
It's probably different for you than me of how often you need to.
How often I need to. Yeah, that's fair enough.
You're probably reviewing it on your own a lot more than I am.
Already. Yeah, I do it. So I do it. This will sound. I do it daily. So I'll do the whole. I'll capture things throughout the day, and every morning I review my inbox. Like, and I start organizing it.
Okay.
So it's like a morning habit thing. Like my morning routine is wake up, meditate. Then I like journal, just like for FE working on my FE.
Is it like the morning pages thing?
Yeah, morning pages. I do morning pages, or I do something called worry time, which is good for anxiety. And then the other thing I do is this: I just review my inbox, and then just organize it, see what's on the agenda today. I don't schedule the day. I only schedule what a must. Like our call was like a must do, but tasks I don't schedule them. I just see what I can do today, and I just do my day. But yeah, I review it daily. So that sounds like, but what you said's good though. I think, you're saying like, it's almost.
The thing is my brain's gonna screen out known information, whereas yours probably not gonna screen out as much.
Yeah.
So maybe it makes sense to do it more often for you.
More often, yeah.
Mine will just completely ignore it and the words won't mean anything.
Yeah. You know what's funny? Like I'm just realizing now, because even though you save your OE, but you actually like weirdly enough, I think you have the best OI that you and an ISFP will have the best NI that any type could have. I think because this is my logic. From what you're saying, it's like you're a double observer and you're savior sensory. So you do it.
It's the most effective NI, but not
because it's just for me
it's just enough for like a foundation for my life not to fall apart. But I can't like use NI to like think of like the theory of relativity or something. Like I can't use NI projected out as well as like you can or the other.
Okay. Fine.
But it's like TE effective though. Like it's just the most effective NI, but not
most effective. That's okay. That's a good distinction. Yeah, that's actually a good distinction. I guess I'm only seeing it. Okay, effective is the best because I overdo it. So I'm seeing it relative to that. Yeah.
But like, I guess if you and me had to like do some sort of NI activity and we had to compete, like we had to plan out some scenario, you would totally kick my fucking ass at that because you're doing that all the fucking time in your head. So much easier for you to do that. So it's like, I don't.
In some ways,
it's like it's used very responsibly, I guess.
Yeah. I respect. Yeah, and
a certain age,
Sorry.
Once you get to a certain age as an IP or as an ISFP, you use it responsibly.
Yeah. That's cool, and it's nice to like. I'm learning what that looks like through you because I only know how to do it in the overworking it way. So it's like all these simple things, like probably to you are just so. I'm like mind blown, you know. It's almost like it's almost like a revelation where it's like you're just like, you know, the whole Alan Watts thing with the jug of water. and like guy pushes it. To the guy, it's like I'm just pushing it, but to the other person, it's like that's it. It's like that's it. To me, it's a big revelation in that way. Even though it's so simple, I'm like,
I wonder if it's just like, because like you've definitely thought about all these things before. I wonder if it's just because you're not thinking about it and then putting it into sensory.
Yeah, that's probably
you're just not taking that step. Even though you've already come across this, you're not like, you're just leaving it in sensory.
Just leaving it in the void.
Land, which I'm not comfortable. If it's going to leave an abstract land, what good is it?
But what's the point? Yeah. That's true. Damn. Okay. Do you ever the weird thing is I don't feel like that's the same with my TI for you. Like you don't get the same revelations, do you? I think I get more from you to learn about my NI than you get from me to learn about well, it's different, I guess, because I am also Savior TI. FE, I guess FE would be.
I think so. Yeah. Like, I think I learned like double deciding stuff from you a lot, especially when I tell you certain situations. You'd be like, "Oh no, here's what happened." Like with the Dr. K thing, when I thought he was bad.
Yeah.
And you're like, "No, here's what happened." You weren't even there, and you knew it. What happened?
Yeah. I get. Yeah. Did also interesting enough, was he like the next time, was he fine? Like, could you?
Yeah, no, he was cool.
Yeah, it was fine. Yeah.
It was fine.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, fair enough. I guess maybe I'm saying things and I'm not realizing if they're helpful, but then to you it might be helpful, and I'm just like, oh, I'm just saying it. Like, yeah.
I think you're like TI. It's going to be more effective than mine.
Interesting.
It's like, it's more effective, and your FE probably as well, because they're in the middle.
Yeah.
But like you with your FE, it's going to be more like you're doing just enough FE to everything's fine. Like I'm just doing enough NI.
Yeah.
So you're a good example for like how you should use FE. And I think like if 99% of people were to type you, they would type you as Savior FE probably, right?
Yeah.
How much FE that you show, like I've never met a TI Savior that puts out as much FE, I think, as you do. And so like you're like a good standard to look at, like of how to.
Thanks, man. I don't know where it comes from. Like I did like learn that it's really weird. It is a bit of a logical game where, like, my friend, my first year of uni, I built a very big social circle. Like I was very interactive with people, and my friend would
play demon play as well. And you still do
exactly. And so it was very much like because of that demon play, I had to be strategic. I was very strategic. And my friend would ask me, like, because he was starting uni, he was like, "Oh, how did you get to that kind of super connective level with everyone?" And I said to him, I have certain like rules where it's like it's all about first impressions, and it's like the way you interact. It's like what seems like FE, like a lot of FE, it's like I'm using it at the right time to give you enough of an impact that it's like first impressions. Once you come out and you interact with someone really strongly, you don't have to do it that strongly all the time, but the first impression is the most important. So I'll do that, so it's like less pressure in the future. They just think I'm a nice guy, so it's like I can fuck up a little bit, but their original image, it's sometimes, and also like I track points. So sometimes if I'm like, if I'm aware of my good streak, so like it's like points where it's like, oh, I've done enough good things that I can just do this bad thing, and they could get a little upset at me, but I've done enough that the net overall is fine. Okay. So like
which is the opposite of a decider. It's like, oh, I fucked up this one time. Oh, we're done.
And it feels a lot. Yeah. That's, oh man, yeah. But it's like heavy on you guys as well. So yeah. It's like, it's
the thing is, we're also
excessive pain.
We're also just like straight cutting people off as well. So we project that on everyone else and think that they're just going to cut us off too when we mess up.
Yeah.
So it's like, so it's something you have to be conscious of if you're a decider, that you don't want that to be done to you. So don't do that to other people, and realize the times that it's been done to you that, it was just whatever you did to offend somebody. It was just kind of probably wasn't anything against them. It probably just something that just kind of happened, and it was a mistake, and it's not something you should be judged by. And you need to realize and do that the same for other people.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes you sound really double-decided. It's really cool. I guess you've worked on it, but sometimes like
I still have issues with it for sure, but
yeah,
I'm trying to.
you're working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know how
think
you work on it other than being aware of it. Maybe that's all it needs. I think most
yeah,
people probably just need you to be
just
aware.
being aware of it. That's
Just
the
be
funny
like, well,
part.
just being like what I just said, being aware
Yeah,
that when I do something or when somebody does something to me, be aware of all the times that I've done it to somebody as well.
yeah,
Always to look both ways, you know.
exactly.
I think that helps. And you do that enough and then you get to be balanced, I think.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. And I think just to add to what you said, for me, I think you're the most double decidery like ISTP I know, I think for sure.
That's a compliment.
Um
Thank you.
yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah, it's good. I think and yeah, people have said, I'm sure you've heard these compliments,
Yeah,
but
people have
yeah.
like said FE compliments and stuff. Or like there's been some interviews where like people have said like Dave's not an ISTP. Like he has too much FE to be an ISTP. I'm like, really?
That's a good yeah. The logical part of you is like, well, you're wrong. But really,
Yeah,
like
there's
this is
just the fight.
awesome.
It's like, dude, oh,
You're
thank
actually,
you.
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think at the start I was more at the start when people said, "Oh, like you seem like you're FE." At first, I was more on the compliment side, but now since I'm over that, now when people say it, I'm just like, "But it's wrong." You know, I'm more focused on the incorrectness than the value of what it is. Like
Okay.
nowadays, and
Would you feel the
because
same if somebody said you felt very SE? Would you also feel like
um,
you were focused on the correctness, or would you be more like?
let me think. Um, I don't think I wouldn't believe them. I just
Like if
wouldn't believe
somebody
them.
like okay, like if somebody didn't know you, you put up a video and people were like, "Wow, this guy seems like not like he's an INFJ. He's super SE."
Super SE.
So whether you know they weren't lying because there's some random person on YouTube.
Yeah, it's just a random person. I'm feeling very conflicted right now. I'm trying to. What is this feeling? I think if I saw that, I would just. I wouldn't. I just feel very confused. I wouldn't know how to take
Yeah,
it
okay. Like how are you feeling?
because
Oh, yeah.
with FE, I can see why they're saying that. I know what I'm doing
Okay.
to actually express that view of me. With SC, I'd be like, I don't know. I would feel conflicted.
It would be the
Do you
same
feel
for me.
conflicted?
Like if somebody
Do you,
said I was like super NI on one of the thing, and be like, well, what like, but what am I exposing that makes me feel super NI exactly?
yeah.
Like I get where the FE stuff comes from
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you
that's how
can
you
see
feel
FE
about
in
it.
the video that somebody added.
Yeah.
You can't see like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah,
it.
okay,
Because
I get what
the
you're saying.
observers are like observers. Like it's not active. It's not. They don't encompass your thoughts as much as the
Yeah,
deciders
true.
do. Yeah, exactly.
But you do
Exactly.
feel like not. Well, it's probably because you're a glass lizard, but you don't feel like NI controlling
And
at
yeah,
all. And you don't seem like you've like really. I mean, I'm sure you do to some degree, but you don't like seem like you have like chaos concerns. You don't seem like you're obsessed with known information. You seem as OE as I am most of the time.
mm.
You know, it's
Thanks,
like
man.
there's never. I guess that's because you have consume and play in the middle, and you're so
Yeah,
that it completely cancels out the NI like just my box thing.
yeah, yeah. Thanks, man. I think trying to understand it. I guess it's like the way I go about things is like in a more flowy way for sure. Because I can't rely on my blast to like get me through things. I kind of just have to learn to be more flowy. But when I do have problems, and I guess this is what shapes it about types, that's when I'll go to my known info. Like
Okay.
if there is a problem, I'll look to my known info, which is like my known info is really broad though. So that's the good thing of being consumed, because it's like my known info is like a big variety of resources that I've consumed. But I will go back to it, and then if there's nothing there, I will try get something new. I'll get feedback from something else. Like I love like I have this weird thing where I just like learning about my body. So like there was a point in which I was getting regular blood tests for something, and the thing it was basically called benign neutropenia. So I had low white blood cells. They didn't understand why,
Okay.
but they were just testing it to see if it was a problem. But it was actually benign. So I just naturally have it. It doesn't affect
Didn't
my
you have like
immune
a vitamin
system.
D test as well or something like that?
Yeah. So they saw I had low vitamin D,
Oh, you did have it low, which we were like hoping that you would because you could supplement it, right? Like you remember
exactly. And I had it. It's a long story. I had it originally. It was too low, so I was supplementing it. And then this was like a year later, 2 years later, and I was telling you like I might check it again because I've been not very like consistent with supplementing, and I was like, I hope it's low. And they found that it wasn't deficient, but it was insufficient. So it's like not a good. It's like a gray area where it's not good, but it's not completely deficient. So I could do with more supplementing.
Okay.
But because of the regular blood testing, I would throw in other blood tests. I just love learning about myself.
Yeah,
I was like,
I like it too.
oh yeah,
like the DNA thing too.
Yeah, I want to do that. Because that you can just do that, can't you? You just sign up and then you get the test kit and you send it. Is that how it works?
Yeah. It was like a
spit.
I think it was saliva, or it was like a part of my cheek or something. I don't remember.
Yeah.
You send it back into them, and then you get like on the internet they have your results, like Ancestry, and then you just say, hey, could I have my? There's a place here where you download your DNA. It's just a text file. It's literally your
fucking cool, man. Yeah,
and polymorphisms. And then you go to a third-party website, and then it pairs it with a report and tells you a bunch of stuff.
Tells you things, yeah. I'm a nerd for that stuff.
There's probably an easier way to do that. Mine was just roundabout, because originally I got it just to find out my ancestry, and then I found out later, like, you can get your DNA from this.
Right. Yeah, I think, that stuff's, I guess that's our ST consume. Because I'll throw in, like, can you do a thyroid test for me? Can you do a cholesterol test? Okay. Like, I experimented on having eggs for a year. And then I was like, I want to see what it does to my cholesterol. Then I got a blood test and my cholesterol was good. So I was like, because there was a whole...
Your liver that, I think, right? Or something like that.
Yeah.
The food you eat doesn't really affect it that much.
Yeah, exactly. There was a whole... Because there was a whole debate about... It's an old myth that having the eggs influences your body's cholesterol, and then they found that's not true.
It's also a heart disease thing too. That's a whole topic. It's
all sorts of
bullshit in like that area. Like it makes me not even want to consume any of it because it's like I know there's so much like you have to sift through so much shit to figure out what's true or not.
It almost has the opposite effect to me. because it's so ambiguous, yet there is some like thing there. It makes me want to just figure it out. Like I'm doing it's a course called Food as Medicine. I've been learning all sorts, but that's the fucked up part because the nutrition field is the most conflicted field in terms of data and research. So that's what you're saying is true, and yet I guess the reason why I love it is because it's like there's a potential to just bioengineer yourself, and like you could just fucking like the TI robots we are. Like I just legit just want to build myself. Like that's how I think of myself. Like building myself, supplementing this, like or like it's just so cool.
You want to make your life better, and if you just have to eat this rather than that, or take a pill every day, then you want to be as maximum
efficient, optimized. Yeah, this is so TI, man, but it.
So why wouldn't you?
This is my brain like all the time. Is that you as well?
So that's the thing. You have to like with the double observer balance. Like if it's causing you like is draining your energy to think about it all the time, then it's not worth even doing it all.
Yeah.
It has to be like you're doing just enough to where it's not taxing you. You know what I mean? So like me with my to-do list, it's completely different than yours. It's very basic compared to yours.
Yeah.
I'm doing just enough to where I'm not super organizing the fuck out of everything.
I'm
constantly thinking about organizing. I'm not doing anything. And then I'm stressed out. It's burning me out. So I do just enough to where I don't have to organize or think about it. So with supplementing, you do just enough to where you get a maximum benefit. Like you just take the 5 best known supplements that help like omega-3s or whatever. And then you leave it alone because it's not worth obsessing about.
The awesome thing is like what you're saying, I always learned this the long way. Like I learned this the hard way. I learned this by going too far into it, and then I learned I'm overthinking it, and I'll dial it down.
Because I used to do the same thing with health. Like it would go. I would read these crazy intense research papers that were like so hard to understand, and I have to look everything up.
Fuck. Yeah.
And I'd be up until like 4 a.m. to think about stuff. Like,
oh my god! Oh fuck yeah!
Now I'm like, dude, I don't fucking.
Me too.
I'm fine. I don't care.
Yeah. Exactly. Like
you get burnt out of it eventually. You'll get like consume burnout.
Yeah, I just what you're saying. The way I do things now is like I'll take only what I need in terms of supplements or whatever. So I just take vitamin D because I'm deficient. I take probiotics because I have IBS, and I take ashwagandha is really good for like anxiety. That's fucking awesome, dude. And but I don't like it, and omega-3 is good. Like omega-3, everyone should take omega-3. I think that one is like you never really have a deficit of that, but you also never
balance with omega-6, I guess, right? Or something like that. Like you get too much omega-6 from the meat you eat, you don't get enough omega-3, and there has to be a balance between the two to be like.
I didn't know this. This is really cool. I didn't know that.
Because I don't think it's about how much you have, it's about how it's balanced with you.
Balance. And that would make sense because they're different, aren't they?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It's a more natural, I guess, like grass-fed food will have more omega-3 in it. It'll have a more natural balance to it, which is healthier for you. The unhealthy stuff will have more omega-6, I think.
Yeah.
6. I think it's 6.
Yeah, I think 6 is the one, because normally you're encouraged to supplement 3 for whatever reason. I think 6 is the one it's a bit different. Maybe it's.
I didn't know if it was 6 or if it was 9 or 12.
Or 9, yeah.
I think it's like maybe it's it's one of those.
Yeah,
it's not the omega-3.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, yeah. We're just man, it's weird. We just do the same stuff. We go through the same pattern, and yeah. So weird. Have we spoke about everything?
Yeah, I think so. Let me take a look. Yeah, we've gone through all of the topics pretty much, and it's been what? It's been like almost 3 hours.
Yeah, this is wild.
It passes pretty quick too. Damn.
Like it doesn't feel like 3 hours. It feels like an hour or an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But not.
I remember as we were speaking, we like maybe we're on the first topic and we were super into it. I'm like, wow, it's already been like an hour and we haven't even finished the first.
Yeah, I didn't look at the time. I didn't realize it was an hour. Fuck, that's wild. Yeah.
So so I guess we'll stop it here. I'll stay on the call, but I'll just stop the recording.
Yeah.
And we'll So thank you, everyone. Thank you. Let's try that again. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't agree with something or want to let us know about something, please leave a comment and we'll try to respond. That would be great. And take it easy, guys, and see you next time. Bye.